Hey, what's up, everyone? Or everyone who hopefully will come in. I know it's a random time. I noticed when I was looking at my analytics, I was like, I probably should move this to the afternoon. I tend to get more people on the weekends in the afternoon. Or if I like look at like during the weekday, at night, sometimes I seem to get a better or a bigger crowd. But I have to go off of my schedule now because obviously I'm planning like a move, and surgery next week and all this stuff. So I have a lot going on, and so at this point it's kind of like, oh, I got to do things when I have the time to do them, and as opposed to following like a schedule and stuff. And thanks for the two people that are already here and the thumbs up I already got. Thank you very much. Let me adjust my speakers so that way we don't hear me twice talking, so I can keep up with the chat in case there's any people jump in. And thank you for the third person just jumped in. Thank you so much. If you guys have any questions, this is basically the first video of counting down to my move out of California. And so there was just some life things. I was like, yeah, maybe I could just talk about them. Maybe there's some value in given a perspective of someone who's lived out in LA for 13 years, who's followed like a dream out here and has, in my opinion, accomplished some of those dreams that I came out here for, and some of those goals that I tried to accomplish. I feel like I've hit that, and I can explain why. I know some people be like, oh, but you're struggling and, all these things, and you're not writing comics anymore. So like, did you really accomplish goals? And these are really honest questions. I like friends that ask me questions that kind of challenge me. Hello, Potato Mattress. Hello, Suki. How's it going? Welcome, welcome. Thank you both for being here. Thanks everyone for being here. I appreciate it. And where are you moving to? We Are Venom asks. I am moving to Florida. So I'll be moving to Orlando in about less than 2 months' time. Probably be 6 to 7 weeks total between now and when I move. I think it'll be around March 20th. I'll hit the road. And my last day of work here at Lego in LA is going to be on March 7th. So yeah, unfortunately, I have to leave Lego too, which I'm bummed about because I really like working for the company, and it's provided me with so much and helped me accomplish another goal of mine, two goals of mine actually, which we'll talk about here, coming up. Hello, how are you doing? I'm doing well, Potato. Thank you so much. How are you doing, Potato Mattress? I love your name. Swordsman, what's up, dude? How's it going? What made you decide on Orlando? That's a great question. It was not, well, I guess I was recommended doctors in a couple different places, and out of all those places, although Atlanta was closer to my mom and would make sense because I've been cared for and treated in Atlanta before with my initial aneurysm. I thought, oh, I could go there and be closer to my mom, but I don't really know anyone in Atlanta. And so I was trying to look for a good place where I would have a support system as I get older, and as health things take a toll on me, and also trying to find work. And so I have a friend in Orlando who I've known for a long time, and he was nice enough to not only offer me a place to stay until I get my own apartment, which he said, I'll house you and your dog until you find your own place, and I'll help you find a place. That right there was a clincher for me. Then also him saying, and I have some work that I'd be happy to hire you for once you arrive. And when I heard all that, that really ultimately made the choice much easier, because I couldn't go to Chicago. I don't know anyone in Chicago, and the one person I did recently moved to San Francisco, my friend Charlie. So I was like, all right, so I definitely don't know anyone in Chicago now, and I didn't really know many people in Atlanta, and there's a couple other cities and options, some in the Midwest, and I was just like, being in Florida, I'm less than a day's drive away from my mom, and I know that put her at ease. She really wanted to be closer to her, and so for that reason, that was so a lot of factors helped me choose to go to Florida. So let's see, what made you decide Florida? Mickey subletting you a nice place? Yes, Eddie's mullet. I'm working for Mickey Mouse now. Actually, I used to work for Disney in Florida, Disney Orlando. I worked for all the theme parks. I've worked for the wedding pavilion. I've worked for third-party companies that hired me to do things in the parks. So I wasn't directly for Disney. Then I was also working for like Buena Vista Studios, or, what their kind of entertainment department. So I have worked for Mickey before. And I learned a lot actually working for Disney and even Lego now. The standards of both of those companies is very high, and I like that. And after working at Lego, I realized that like I want to work in a place that has really high standards, because I felt like it really challenged me and brought out the best of me. And it didn't make me like, some retail jobs you just kind of become, you could easily fall into like a curmudgeony kind of like, screw people, whatever. Lego and Disney did not, they don't imprint that on you. And I like that. I was like, no, I like this. People have bad days, and you gotta give them the benefit of the doubt. Hello, sir. What's up, Rohit? Good to see you, man. Thanks for being in here. Venom Vlog, Marvel Universe, Alliance 3 is doing an event right now in the Danger Room where you can get an anti-venom skin for Venom and a voice pack for Venom that has a lot of great lines. Awesome. I don't think I have that game. Is that the one that's only on the Switch? I don't think I have that game. But that's Marvel Ultimate Alliance, right? That the game looks amazing. I just don't have a Switch, unfortunately. Suki says, "Oh, that's amazing. Thank you. That's great. Gotcha. Wish you nothing but good fortune." Thank you so much. I mean, the downside is obviously I won't be here in LA as far as this show goes. I won't be here in LA to possibly go to a Venom 2 screening or get any kind of access to things that might be Venom related here in town. And then some of the connections I've been making at Warner Brothers, it's like I won't get access to that stuff anymore. But really, when I looked at my life, I had to make like really real decisions. And I was like, well, it would be fun to do these things, but then it would be irresponsible of me to do these things at the same time and put myself through this kind of health risk or whatever, or whatever obstacles that might pop up from doing numerous things like this. So it might cut me off to some access to stuff, but that's okay, because on one level I'm like, well, that's kind of what this show is too, is I'm trying to give a fan perspective, and I'm trying to grow, in certain ways. Like I guess at one point I defined it as maybe journalism, like I wanted to go that route. But it's not really that. Like I don't feel like I'm really a journalist on here. I would say I kind of report things. So I'm more of a reporter, but I do, investigate things and research things too. So maybe I'm an investigative reporter, but I wouldn't. Maybe I'm not a true journalist, like as some people have called me out on recently. It's fine to have that opinion, and maybe looking back at it, I kind of agree a little bit. If there's certain rules that journalists follow, as mutual respect to each other, I don't follow those rules, and I don't care, because if I see someone turn in half work, I say something, or at least I perceive it as half-assed. You guys know me. I do that to Donnie Cates, who writes Venom comics. I do that to other, journalists and reporters out there, people who get to do interviews on the red carpet with like Matt Tolmec and stuff. Like I've called people out who I think aren't hitting their potential for their job, and I've noticed that's kind of the role I've taken too at Lego sometimes, is where I'm looking at people's potential. I want to see who can grow, and I wanted to see who could replace me after I left. If someone was, worked hard enough and was hitting all the beats to replace me at my job. And I've noticed I've become that type of person where I'm not looking inward that much anymore. I'm mostly looking outward, because I feel like I've kind of changed in a way, and this move is facilitating that change. So we'll talk about that here in a second. And thank you for the thumbs up. Thanks to the 7 people that are here. Hey everyone, it's on PS4 too. Oh, is it? Wait, PS4 has Marvel Ultimate Alliance? Lisa, holy cow, I got a my today. Awesome. Sir, do you give reviews of Green Lantern Black Stars issue 3? I haven't read it yet. It is in my pile. Obviously my surgery is in a couple days, so I have it in my pile. I will try to read it, but my review of it probably won't go up until after my surgery, most likely. Yes, and Atlanta, you could get scoops on Marvel filming. I mean, I could I don't really know Atlanta filming. He's the only guy, that I've ever referenced on this show that kind of reports from there. But yeah, I wouldn't know where to hit the ground running there. So I figured, Orlando's not that far away. I could have my ear to the ground there. And there's a lot of people that live in Orlando that do sometimes go up and film and work on stuff in Atlanta sometimes. So who knows? Bridges are always built every day. So we'll see if any of them lead to something like that. Isn't that the game I bought? I better go check. Oh, yeah, go check. I don't know if it's a Switch exclusive. Okay, yeah, Marvel is only on Switch. Okay, yeah, so maybe you have a different Marvel game. Lisa. Yeah, because I was like, wait a minute, when did that happen? Like, not that I'm up on games or game news, but I was kind of confused about that. Okay, so it's only on Switch. So yeah, one day when I get a Switch, maybe, but I'll miss out on the anti-venom stuff probably. Hopefully they'll sell it at a later time. I could just buy it. All right, so I got asked a really interesting question the other day, and It was from my roommate actually, and he said, are you came out here with these goals, dream, you wanted to work in movies and TV and comic books and all this stuff. And the last, 4 or 5 years, you've been doing sales and retail stuff, and you've been working for Lego. Like, are you leaving with regrets? And I said, almost instantly, I was like, no. I've been in LA for 13 years, and I remember when I lived in South Carolina and I was just working at a Blockbuster Video and I was watching movies daily. I was watching so many movies. Every night I would go home and bring a movie. Blockbuster allows you to bring home 5 movies a week as far as like free rentals go. You can use it on a video game or a movie. That used to be like the rules. And I would bring home a lot more than that. It wasn't like I was stealing. What I did was I was borrowing. I would close one night and open the next day. So I would bring like 2 movies home and I'd stay up all night watching them and just studying them. And then when DVDs came out, I was watching them with the commentary. I would rent one movie and watch with the commentary track. So I would say I was allowed 5 movies a week, but I probably watched 10 a week. And I worked at Blockbuster for like on and off for like 3, 4 years. And I watched a ton of movies, and all I wanted was to just go be around people who made movies. So I went down to Florida and in Orlando and worked in movies and TV stuff there, mostly like commercials and like behind the scenes corporate videos that Disney made, and a lot of like confidential stuff that they made, like filming like behind the scenes stuff. And I had a blast, and I learned so much. And so from there, I wanted to apply what I've learned out in California, because I'd always dreamed about coming out here as a younger person. Of course, I don't remember a lot of this and remember these goals and these dreams, but I know they were there because that's what initially brought me out here. And I've had journals that I've made from traveling, so I've read the journals to kind of relearn about who I was as a younger person with my memory gaps and stuff. My mom told me stories about things, so that's kind of where I get information from about who I was. And so coming out here in 2007, that's what I pursued. And within 1 week of moving out here, I was interning, I was doing comic book stuff, and I was also had a paid job on a Steven Spielberg reality show called On the Lot. And I got to meet Steven Spielberg like my first week in California, in Los Angeles. And that to me was just, I was like, no matter what happens from here moving forward, I accomplished my goal. That's how I've always felt about Los Angeles. So many people talk about coming here and pursuing a dream, and most of them don't do it. And especially where I come from in South Carolina, a lot of us had big dreams to go on and create things and do stuff, and a lot of us didn't do it. We couldn't find the willpower to try. And there was times where I didn't have the willpower to try, and only because of friends and encouragement from people that were close to me in my life did I end up out here. And from that moment, once I landed in California, and then within a week meeting Steven Spielberg, and then 2 weeks after that meeting Michael Bay, and seeing Transformers, it was my favorite franchise, like as far as toys and comic books and stuff go. And the movies, they are what they are. But having all that accomplished so soon, I was like, no matter what, and however people perceive me in the future, if I failed or whatever, I didn't. I succeeded because I came here and I tried. That to me was my big victory. And I always wanted to ask you what it's like to live in LA. Suki said, yeah, living in LA is just like living anywhere else. Honestly, I would say, like me, I'm kind of reclusive now because of health reasons and stuff and money. Like, I just live check to check, so I can't really go out and partake in a lot of stuff that you can do here. There's so many opportunities of like fun things to do here. Like, if you want to go into almost any industry, you can find your way there in Los Angeles. So I would say the potential to go on and do things is great here. But living here is just like living anywhere else. There's a Walmart down the street, there's a Target, there's a Popeyes or whatever. There's no Zaxby's. Zaxby's is my favorite place to eat as far as like fast food type stuff goes. But there's no Zaxby's out here, unfortunately. There is in Florida, so I'll be very excited to, maybe I'll do food reviews of Zaxby's food because it's been, almost a decade since I've had any. So yeah, living here is just like living anywhere else. It's I would say anyone out there, and that's why I mentioned just coming here was a success, because I'm hoping to encourage other people. There's other people out that want to move out here, that have dreams to do things out here, to try things out here. If you really want that, don't let anything stop you. Living here is just like living anywhere else. Try to secure some kind of job or interview or, or a place to stay before you do. be smart about it. Be smart wherever you're going, whether it's LA, New York, anywhere in the world, Paris, Tokyo. If you want to move anywhere, go try something like that. I would say feel it out first. I made sure I had an apartment waiting for me when I got to LA. I went on apartments.com and they would help me, find a place. And I found one and I was like, all right, I got to be there in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And I'll move in on that day when I get there. So I would say do the best you can to plan. Any friends you have in those towns or anyone online to reach out to, do that, because there was one guy I worked with in Florida named Dan. He was the only person I knew out in LA, and he saw that I was moving out to LA, and he was just excited. He's like, dude, another person from Florida is coming here. I want to hang out with him. And he got in my car and we drove around LA, and he just pointed out, here's Man's Chinese Theater, here's this, here's that. And then when we parked to go eat at In-N-Out, he wanted to treat me to In-N-Out. While we were eating In-N-Out in the car and talking, he gets a call for a job, and he's like, hey, I don't want the job. And he's like, but I have a friend here from Florida who just moved here who is looking for a job. And they were like, well, so what? Like, we don't care. We wanted you. And if you're not available, so, we'll go down our list. And he's like, no, please give this guy a chance. He's a hard worker. And I really thank Dan for that. That was a big thing he did for me. And it got me on the show on the lot, and it got me introduced to a lot of great connections that I used onward. And I got to work on shows like The Apprentice and Survivor, and I got to work on The Bachelor, Bachelorette, Dancing with the Stars. I did a bunch of realities. Machine Daisies was like a scripted show that I worked on that I think got canceled, and then the writer's strike affected it, and so I kind of fell out of scripted TV and movies for a while because of that writer strike, and then I lost some of my connections from that too. So I kind of went back into reality TV, but I did work on movie sets, and like I said, I walked on the set of Iron Man 2 and did a lot of stuff at Sony. So yeah, I mean, I look back and I've had a really good life here, and I can't look back at this and say it was a failure because I moved out here to work in movie and I did. I wanted to work in comic books, and I did just that. I was an editor-in-chief of a small comic company, sure, but I had my opportunities, and I did it. I thought I did the job really, really well. And then after all that, I said, you know what? I don't want to be in comics anymore. This job is not just too stressful, but I feel like it's full of a lot of people who are yelling at me, and they're so confident that they're right, and they're not even acknowledging that maybe they could be wrong. And I just felt like I was talking to a lot of walls, and I wasn't growing as a person. And I said, well, growing means more to me than a dream job. But at that time, I had discovered Lego, and I had become a Lego fan and started building Lego, and I was like, let's see what Lego has to offer. And they offered me so much. And if you check out my Instagram, you'll see pictures of all these families I made an effect on the past like 4.5 years that I've worked there. And it's meant a lot. And I didn't realize how much of an effect I had on people till I started telling customers I was leaving, and they were like, well, we got to get a picture with you. And that's when I was like, all right, well, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take pictures with people who made this job so special and who helped me grow as an individual these past few years. All right, let me catch up on chat. I've always wanted to ask you what it's like to live in LA. Oh my God, I have Ultimate Alliance 2 and No Brain. Oh, that's okay. Ultimate Alliance 2 is a great game too. Andy Signor is in Florida now too. Andy Signor, that name sounds familiar. Good. Good for you, Andy. Did he move out of LA? Was he a guy who used to live out here? I feel like the name sounds familiar. I don't know. See, sir, have you been to India? I have not been to India. I have not. I've been to, when I was a kid, I think Greece and Turkey, and some places in Europe and stuff, but I don't remember it. I was very little. Hi, Siike, hoping for the best for your in the future and surgery. Hey, thank you, Joker Panhead. I appreciate that, man. Thank you for that. I'm sure the surgery will go fine. It sounds a lot less intense this time around, and it sounds like I'll recover hopefully fairly quickly. I am wearing the helmet. I have it back here. You can kind of see it. I had my friend already sign it, which was awesome, and I'm going to get more signatures on it at work. I picked a rugby helmet just because I was like, it just looked cooler than the other options that there were, and it's not super padded, but it's got a pretty good amount. And I read a lot of reviews from people with epilepsy online about this helmet, and they said it worked really well. And so there just might be a slight, I've had an increase in seizures, the past year and a half, so it's just a precaution for a while. But I'm going to get people to sign it and stuff. You get to meet President the Donald. Yeah, I did actually. Yeah, because I worked on The Apprentice. Donald Trump was, yeah, he was the host of the show. Obviously, I don't meet him directly, because I was like a PA. So I mean, I was on sometimes around, but for the most part, I think no, actually, I think mostly I just handled. I know I was in a room with him once, but I think mostly it was post production that I did on that show. So mostly I didn't see him, but I feel like there was a time. Yeah, I think there was a time where I was in a room with him at Mark Burnett or somewhere like somewhere Mark Burnett related. Um, yeah, so yes, don't have the memory of it, but fully. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I told that story before of like where I was in a room with him. Well, that's a lot of shows. Yeah, no, shows out here they film so fast, especially reality shows. You go work on The Bachelor, and they're filming like out in this house, out kind of away from LA and stuff, and it's like really beautiful out there, and there's um, like a lot of mountains and stuff, and they film there, and you could work on that show and work like 2 3 days a week and then still do other shows, like Dancing with the Stars. So there was a time where I was just working 7 days a week on like two different shows because I'm like, oh, I got 2 3 days here, 4 or 5 days here, and I would just kind of bounce around, and I definitely overworked myself. They think some of that is the reason why I ended up in the health conditions that I have. So push you love pushing up daisies. Yeah, pushing daisies, that was fun. I didn't work on it that much. I had a friend that worked on it, and then I would day play on it, which is you just go in for a day and just kind of help out where they can. So I wasn't like a full-time staff member there or full-time PA. I just picked up whenever I had a day off from something else. I'm like, hey, you guys need someone? And they're like, actually today, or tomorrow we could. So I'm like, cool, I'll come out tomorrow. um well, it's a lot of neat experiences and shows. And that's why, so when my roommate asked me, like, do you think you're leaving with regret? I said no. Like, I got to do movies and TV, and I learned a ton about the process of them. Not everything, sure, but I learned a ton. I got to be a production assistant, a production coordinator. I was worked in catering for a while. I was a grip and lighting person. I was a best boy. I worked at art department. I worked in the camera department. I worked on movies like Bring It On 4, In It to Win It. That was in Florida. I think they filmed that in Florida right before I moved to LA. And I think I was because there was like one of the Tisdale sisters was the star of that movie, and then I moved out to LA and I was working on the lot, and this we were all like hanging out after work one night. I think this was around the time we saw Transformers. I can't remember. And this girl was sitting at the table with me, and she goes, "You look really familiar." And I go, "Oh, I just moved here." I was like, before, and I said Orlando, and she goes, "Did you work on Bring It On?" I go, "I did work on Bring It On 4." And she goes, "I was the star of it." And I was like, "What?" And yeah, it was kind of weird. And we were like chatting for a while. So yeah, I've had a lot of great life experiences. I've met a lot of great people, and some of whom I can't remember, unfortunately, but I do have pictures and journals and stuff from my old life that was kind of fun to go through and see that I seemed like I had my problems at times, but it seemed like I really wanted to connect with people. And so when I started to learn that about the person I was, that was around the time I wanted to leave comics. And I said, I do a lot. I work a lot of hours. I push myself. There's maybe not a lot of as many successes here as I was hoping there would be, and I feel underappreciated a little bit, even though maybe that wasn't true. But sometimes you just feel how you feel. And I said, but I went and interviewed people at Lego that year at Comic-Con for like I don't know if it was Bleeding Cool or it was for some online publication or some online site or website. And I was like, I went and interviewed Lego, and I had such a blast talking to them. I think this was the year I was working at Top Cow also. So I was kind of like already thinking about maybe leaving. And then I went to work for my friend for like a couple years and help him start up his company called OSSM Comics or Awesome Comics. And then again, just kept in touch with those Lego people. And then I said, I know you guys don't have any corporate jobs or office jobs right now, but maybe I can work in a retail setting and try to grow. And I said, and then also retail is something I wanted to reconnect with because my first job after my aneurysm, I had a friend named George who gave me a job at Blockbuster as it was closing down in South Carolina. He was like, hey, our store's probably going to close down soon, but I know you've just gone through all these health issues and you're trying to get back on your feet and you're trying to, you want to work and you want to make money. Why don't you come back to Blockbuster for a couple months and help me out at this store? And I jumped at the opportunity to reconnect with not only George, someone who knew me, but a job that I one time loved very, very much, and it got me to catch up on movies and TV shows again, and it was kind of nice. It was a good reset button to find out what kind of person I am, and so I feel like I've grown a lot, but I miss that retail mentality of like, because that was one of the things I felt was missing when I worked in comics was, oh, someone gave you a negative review and then people would just shit on that person, and I'm like, but wait, let's read the review, like, and they're like, I did read it, it's bullcrap, they don't know what they're talking about, and it's like, but they're just telling you how they feel, like can we just read the review and maybe go through it and see if there's a way for we can learn something. Maybe it is bullcrap, but I'd like to go through. And sometimes I would go through these reviews and I'm like, okay, they're, that's where I kind of got the perspective of YouTubers too, was like, all right, some people, they review comics on YouTube, but that's why I like doing discussion videos. Reviewing stuff is kind of hard. There's an art to it. And I admit I am not a very good reviewer. That's why I tend to try to lean towards discussion so I can just go beat for beat through the story and talk about things. Red Letter Media does that, and I love that they do that. And so I kind of wanted to adopt that. But reviewing comics is really hard. There's an art to it, just like reviewing movies can be hard. But I noticed that a lot of people who do review movies and do review comics really don't know how either are made. They don't really know the ins and outs of the business, and they comment on things that it's like, all right, if you're going to review this comic, review the comic, but don't insert things in certain areas that may not be true. And I know I've done that a couple times, but I try to do that in discussion videos and not so much reviews. So it gave me a perspective. So I was like, well, good. I want to get back to that retail mentality of not treating people like crap when they give you feedback. And the best way to do that is just go work in a retail environment and kind of relearn how to adjust to the theory that maybe the customer is right. And I don't believe in the customer's always right. I've certainly had customers come in and threaten me and say they were going to go on Twitter and tag me and ruin my life. And I'm just like, you do what you got to do, man. But these are our policies, and this is what I got to enforce. And I'm sorry I can't make an exception for you because of the way you're acting. Like if you came in and talked to me like a rational adult, I can maybe work things out with you. But you're coming in screaming, you're yelling at my staff and my employees in front of kids. Like I can't have that happen, dude. Like that, this is a place of business and it's a place for kids to feel safe. So you can't be like that. So I've certainly had those moments with customers, but still you gotta you have to hear it. It's like, all right, they're screaming, they're yelling, they're belligerent, but you got to listen, you got to give them their moment, their time to talk, and then you proceed from there. And I wanted to get back to that type of mentality because I felt like I was losing that out here in Los Angeles. I was pulling away from that. Even when I worked at Golden Apple, I was very opinionated. People would come in with their opinions and I would kind of trash them sometimes, and that's not good customer service. And I didn't do that all the time, but sometimes I would because I'm very passionate about comic book storytelling. So I was like, let's go to an environment where you are passionate about, like Lego, but it's you didn't make the product, and you're not as attached to it as you are comic books. So maybe you'll be more, adapt to listen to feedback. And it helped me grow as a person. So my final success out here was learning about me. I came out here to follow the dreams of a kid who lived out here before a brain aneurysm, and I was trying to accomplish his dreams. And after a while, it just didn't feel like my dreams anymore. So I wanted to, YouTubing is now become my dream. I'm going to finish my novel that I've been working on for a long time. It's taken way longer, and it's because it's harder for me. I'm following that kid's dream to write books and stuff. And so it's hard. Doing this King of Neverland book is harder than I thought it would be. And but my goal is to try to get it out, hopefully this year. I'm trying my best. I feel bad, it's way late, way later than it should be, and that's my fault. But I'm working on it. I do work on it. My spare time, I try to work on it. My goal is when I move to Florida is to have enough money to not have to work my first month or month and a half there. And I just want to work on that book and work on YouTube videos because YouTubing is where I want to be. That this has become my dream, connecting with people. Lego allowed me that to pursue that dream. And like I said, the results are on my Instagram where people are, I made an impact on their lives just selling toys, which it means a lot. So, but it's helped me and it has helped me grow. So I came out here following someone else's dreams, and I still feel like I accomplished them well enough where that kid who moved out here when he was 27 could be happy, or 25, I think, when I moved out here, could be happy. But now, as nearing 40, I have to look at my dreams, and I want to accomplish things that I want to accomplish. And one of them was growing as a person, and both YouTube and Lego have helped me do that in spades. Listen to people with different opinions than me, try not to, fight all the time, or be super emotional with responses. Sure, we all have our days. I'm human, just like everybody else, but I still try to rein it in the best I can, and try to keep a cool head when I can. So your Instagram ID is at Venom Vlog. At Venom Vlog. Did you design Lego sets? I did not. I'm not in that creative field. I'm mainly just sales. Right now, I'm at this. I'm a team leader, and so my goals are. It's a full time job, and it's kind of, keep looking out for the team in a way, but also, keeping people focused on our goals, our sales goals, working in the retail environment, helping people hopefully grow, learn about themselves, find out which people want to make a career out of working at Lego, and ones who are just there temporarily, because that's the thing. Like, people, they're so down on retail, and it's like, you don't have to make a career out of it if you don't want to. It's optional. You go there and you can learn a lot about yourself. You can learn about what kind of work ethic you have. Like, I'm on time every day. I'm early actually every day. There was during the holidays, when we had the store I had to go to. It was like at a mall, and parking was so bad that just driving there would take a while, and parking would take like an hour to find a spot of parking. So I would usually go 2-3 hours before my shift, and park and just take a nap in my car. And I was doing that for weeks, during the holidays. So I really do like my job. I love it. It's a bummer that I got to leave it, because I feel like, especially now, I've learned so much in the past month at that job, things that I didn't know before, and I really feel like I've grown a lot, as far as like communicating with people, trying to help them find their potential and reach it. And some people, they come in and they're not meant to work at Lego forever, but we have such high standards that it's like, hey, if you knock this out of the park, your next job, whether it's retail or something else, you're gonna kill it. You're gonna do a great job, because our standards are so high that anything after this, you're gonna be like, wow, they don't do this. They're not structured this way. And you'll see that having standards, high standards, is a good thing, especially when it comes to work ethic. So that's kind of my goal, is to do that, while also maintaining the integrity of the company and the store, and making sure sales are up. And typically on a shift that I work, sales are up. I really do like to sell toys. I love toys, and I love video games and comic books, and I've learned so much at this company. So I have no doubt that wherever I go next in Florida, I'm going to apply this, and I'm going to do a much better job at that job that I'll get next than I would have if I didn't have the experience at Lego. So you dealt with a lot of Karens. I think I remember that meme. Yeah, no, sometimes, I mean, of course, yeah, people come in, they have bad days, and they want to take it out on somebody. I had this one lady accuse me of being like an ageist and sexist. She came in with her elderly mother and was like, "Hey, we have a chair for my mom so she can sit down. She's an elderly lady. Typically, we don't provide that. Sure, that's part of our policy, but of course I'm going to make an exception." But I'm just like, hey, look, there was like, I think there was like a meeting or something going on in the back, and I was like, I didn't know if we could go back there. So I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I can go back there right now. But she wouldn't even hear me out. She just immediately was like, screw you. I'm gonna go get a chair at another store and bring it here. And I'm just like, okay, whatever. So then once I was like, all right, I told my coworker, I'm like, just go get a chair, like it's fine. Like, I should have just done that to begin with, and not cared about what was in the back. But, me trying to think of everything as a supervisor, I hesitated, because I'm like, what's going on back there? Can we walk back there right now during this meeting that's going on? And then she came up to me and just started chewing me out. And she was just like, my mother is elderly. She lost her job today. And she told me this really heartbreaking story. And I'm just letting her talk, because, and then there's another customer who's like, he's like looking at me like, dude, she's in the wrong. Just, she's being entitled. And I'm like, no, maybe she had a bad day. Let's hear her out. And she did. She's screaming at me and telling me about her bad day. And this was the day that I had no kidding. It was the day I had planned my surgery for coming up for in a couple days. So I just, that morning went to the doctor and planned out when we were going to do the surgery, and then came to work. And so she's screaming at me and telling me all this stuff. And I go, okay. And I go, ma'am, normally I'm not here to compare our life stories. I go, but what you just accused me of is wrong. You said I'm discriminating against her because she's elderly. That's not true at all. I go, my grandfather and grandmother would come down from heaven right now and kick my teeth in if I actually acted that way. I would never treat someone like that because of their age or whatever, or their sex. And I said, but also, I'm going through a lot today too, and you are assuming because I'm young that I'm not dealing with something as severe as a brain aneurysm. So you getting in my face like this is agitating my condition in a way, but it's showing that you too have blinders on. But I wasn't blind to the fact that your mother was older and that she needed a chair. I just didn't know if I could do it right away, and I regret hesitating. But you cannot assume that of people. That is not the way to go about your life. And I go, I did nothing wrong here. I'm not a bad guy. I go, I just hesitated. That's all. And I go, I'm human. I go, but you got a chair now, so please stop screaming at me, you know? So sometimes you do deal with Karens, but it's also, I see people just whip out their phones and record them, and they don't try to rationalize with them as a human being. They just like, oh, they're going crazy. This is gonna, get a million hits online, and people act like that. And me, I'm like, I know people have bad days. So if someone comes to me and starts screaming at me, I know it's not because of me. So it's best to hear them out. Like that guy who threatened me, to go online. He's like, got a blue check mark. He's like, I'm gonna go online and blast you and blah blah blah. And I saw people have that happening to like some poor Target employee recently too. And I'm just like, good, do that to me. Like, if you want to do that, great, because chances are someone's going to back me up and someone's going to start a GoFundMe and send me a bunch of money like they did to that Target lady. So I'm like, you're not hurting me, actually. You're just making yourself look like an idiot. I go, but talk to me. What's going on? Why are you having such a bad day? Why'd you come in and yell at me? And that guy did. He thanked me. He's like, I was so mean to you. I don't know why you treated me like that. I'm like, cuz dude, you're having a bad day. Like, I don't care that you're having a bad day. I just don't want you yelling around kids. So my goal and my job is to calm you down. And I also, you're a customer, so I want to do what I can for you. If you want me to return a toy for you, fine, I'll return it. Give me your credit card. We'll put it back on the credit card. But it's going to take like 3 or 4 days to go through. And he's like, no, I want cash. And I'm like, I can't give you cash, man. I'm sorry. That's just the rules. You paid with credit card. I got to put it on your credit card. And you're just going to, if you're going hungry right now, I'll give you $10 and you can go down to McDonald's and get a sandwich or something. I go, but out of my own pocket, but I go, but I can't give you cash. And so, yeah. And the guy he came back like, I don't know, 2 weeks later and was like, hey, I'm really sorry the way I acted last time. I'm like, that's fine, dude. I'm like, I didn't take it personally. These days, some reviewers, a comic has to match their agenda or else. I mean, yeah, there's certainly that going on. I mean, for sure, yeah. I mean, like me, I'm liberal to an extent. I want more female characters and I want more diversity and stuff. Sure, absolutely, because it opens a window into different types of storytelling, and gives you opportunities to tell different types of stories than you could with like, and that doesn't just go with sex and race and stuff either. Like I heard James Robinson say, they were like, oh, why did you blow up Roy Harper and make him lose his arm? And he said, well, because that's a story I couldn't tell with Oliver Queen. Like Oliver Queen is a staple at the company. The company won't really allow us to do too much to him in that regard. We can't, do that. But Roy Harper, there is no connection from the company to Roy Harper on that level. So we can tell these types of stories with Roy Harper. We can tell, stories about him being a drug addict. We can tell stories about him losing his daughter. We can tell these things because he's not the tier character of Batman. And then that hopefully will bring people in to like Roy Harper more because he'll feel more human now. And it humanizes the character. So when I heard all that, I was like, yeah, it's fantastic. Like, you got to do what's right for the character. And if you do have stuff that you can't do to a certain character, try to find someone where it will work for them. And so, yeah, diversity is not just about skin and race and beliefs and religion and all that stuff. It's also like what you can do with certain characters. And that's why I think James Robinson's like a fantastic writer. I love his stuff. What was your favorite moment at Lego? Man, yeah, wow. There's so many, but without getting into the details of it, because I'm not here to air like any kind of uh, ill will or anything to Lego. But we had an incident like last year where a coworker, I felt, who was proving themselves to be a leader and maybe even like up for a promotion. Like I felt like they were doing that good of a job. Um, they weren't given that opportunity, and I spoke up. It was a woman who I felt really deserved the job, and because I witness her hard work all the time, and I spoke up. I said, yeah, I disagree with this. I think she does deserve the promotion, and she wasn't even really truly considered, I feel. And so, but I don't know all the inner workings and the decision making on the other side, obviously. But but I spoke up, and I said, I don't want this person to have a bitter taste in their mouth when they think about the company they work for. Like they should have been given this opportunity. And I was fought on it. And then ultimately they chose someone else for the job. And that person was awful, like did a really bad job on a lot of levels, to the point where it added stress to my life because I had to almost babysit this person. And I'm not trying to be negative towards that person, because on a personal level, I didn't mind that person. I liked them and we connected on a lot of stuff. But as far as the standards of Lego go, they weren't hitting it, and they weren't the teacher and leader that we needed in that position. So I spoke up again, and it so it caused a lot of issues, and that person ultimately ended up being let go from the company or removed, or they left. I don't know what the whole story is or whatever, but they're not there anymore. And after all that, though, again, not the company, I think, handled everything as best they could, given the circumstances. But I learned it was good to know that if I felt there was an injustice, I would speak up, even if there was a danger of me losing my job, which I didn't think there was, because I was like, I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm looking out for the best interest of the company and the store, and and everything like that, and the morale of the store. Um, and so I knew I wasn't doing anything wrong, and Lego hasn't treated me like I've done anything wrong. So that was good to know that I could stand up for somebody who felt they couldn't stand up for themselves or didn't have a voice, and by me standing up, inspired them to stand up for themselves too. And that was great. I mean, we need more of that. We need more of that kind of support with each other. You need to recognize people's hard work. And so that was a really good moment. I don't know if it was my best moment, or my favorite moment, but it certainly was a good moment, because I think it helped everyone involved, and it helped us all see and grow in some way. And so that opportunities like that are very rare to come across. Um, so that was a good moment. I don't know if it was my favorite. Well, some of my favorite are definitely the people that come in. I have a lot of friends that I've made at this job that are on the spectrum in some way, or have a disability of some kind. And every single one of them, from the moment they came in for the first time, I smile at them and go, "Hey, how's it going? What's your name?" And that's why I love that channel, Special Books by Special Kids, so much, because that guy talks to people with disabilities on every episode, or people with different Williams syndrome or Down syndrome, autism, and or Asperger's, like he talks to all these great people who feel like they're invisible or don't get approached. And that's the number one thing they say in every episode is, people don't walk up to me and say hi to me because of my disability or because I look the way I look. And that those stories break my heart. So when kids come in, and if they have a disability, or if there's anything going on in the spectrum realm, I'm always, and I treat everybody this way, but specifically when kids come in like that, I definitely reach out to them and connect with them. And I've made so many kid friends that are on the spectrum, like this one girl, Carolyn, I think it's Carolyn. I haven't seen her in a while, so my memory doesn't hold stuff that well, but she's such a great kid, and she'll come in and play. She'll see me, and she's nonverbal, so she just kind of makes noises, and she's not in full control of her arms, so they kind of she walks like this, and I don't know fully what her condition is, but she is such an amazing person. Every time she comes in, she makes me smile, and like I said, I haven't seen her in like a few months, so it's heartbreaking, but she'll come in and she'll smile at me, and she'll come over and she'll like kind of point at things and ask me to play with like the Lego brick, the Duplo stuff with her, and then she'll play hide and seek with me, because she found out my name was Siike, and so now she just like covers her eyes and counts to 5, in her way, and I got to go hide and stuff. So moments like that, there's so many of them with so many different kids. Moments like that have made that job like the best ever. Siike, when will Venom 2 teaser trailer come out? I actually don't know. I haven't heard anything regarding trailers for Venom 2 right now. So I saw someone theorizing that maybe CinemaCon, I think some of you guys did in the comments or something, saying like maybe CinemaCon and stuff, even though they're not on the docket right now, it's still, a few months away, so they could be added to it. Sony's being very particular with the kind of stuff they do this year, especially with PlayStation 5 launch, which I would say probably is a bigger deal to them than anything, because their video game department is what makes them a ton of money. But although they've had some successes with movies lately, which is great, Bad Boys is doing really well. Jumanji once again stood up to a Star Wars film and had legs that that did really well against Star Wars. So yeah, Sony's kind of sitting, and then they showed Marvel that they can make $850 million with Venom. So I think Sony's doing all right now. I mean, they've still had a couple flops here and there, but for the most part, I think they're growing and doing the best they can. So I'm sure we'll hear some news soon. I know a lot of people are upset that there's not a lot of behind the scenes news right now, and I totally get that. We'll, I'll cover more comic book stuff for the time being. I'm going to pre-record some episodes today about Flash Thompson. That'll go up next week while I'm recovering. So yeah, we'll focus on the comics for now and be patient. I'm sure we'll get some movie stuff pretty soon, and not just like dumb rumor things like, oh, I heard this happened. Hopefully we'll get some legit stuff soon. What's up, Ben? How's it going? Thanks for popping in here. Thank you guys. 10 people, 6 likes. Thank you so much. Hi, Siike. This is a completely random question, but do you believe in a God? I know it's completely random. Yeah, that. So I kind of avoid this question sometimes. Do I believe in God? No. Do I know there's a God? Yes. But do I like him? No. It's I don't know. I have a very back and forth kind of relationship with God. So yeah, and I don't dislike him for because of my life. I think I have a pretty great life, and I try to make things work when they're not working. But I hate the tool that he is sometimes forged into by people who have one opinion about him or another. I hate the way people use the term God to cut someone down or belittle somebody or tell somebody they're doing something wrong. So for that reason, I hate, God in that way, because the way people kind of weaponize him. And I know some people are like, well, why don't you put that on people instead of God? It's like, well, because to me, the reason I know there's a God is because it's a concept. It's like an ethereal thing, that we all can acknowledge on some level, that at some point in our lives we'll all make peace with or make war with, God. And so for that reason, he's very real in my mind. So there's not a belief that needs to be had when it comes to God in my eyes. So no, I don't believe in God, but I am confident there is one, and he and I just aren't friends, I guess. I guess that's my relationship with God. Dealing with the public is not for the faint of heart. No, it is not. Many boomers are so entitled. Boomers, people in general. Let me tell you right now, like when I see people online pick a group and say, you're too entitled, millennials are too entitled, boomers are too entitled, I promise you it is equal. I promise you, at least from my experience in retail and everything in my 37 years on this planet, and what I can remember from it, and myself included, we're all entitled on something, and we're shitty for it. Trust me. Just because they had a heart, they think they should make others feel what they feel, and it's awful. I mean, that's everybody though. Like I've had young people who have experienced very little. I've heard them either at me or at someone else be very entitled and be like, well, you don't know this and you don't know that, you don't know what I've been through, and it's like, you're 20. I'm sure you've been through some tough stuff. I'm not going to negate that, but add another 20 years onto that. Imagine what you'll feel when you're 40. And yeah, some of those 40-year-olds, they feel entitled, and then add another 20, and some of those 60-year-olds feel entitled. And I'm telling you, it's all over the spectrum. It's every age has it. It has their group of entitlement. I promise you, at least in my experience. So yeah, I feel like everyone has it on some level. Actors have it, musicians have it, YouTubers have it, people at McDonald's have it, people washing your car have it, whatever. We all have it. But I guess don't be awful with it. If you feel entitled to something, just don't be awful with it. I think that's just the takeaway. You're going to be entitled no matter what, no matter who you are. You're going to have a point in your life where you feel super entitled. Trust me, I've been there. You guys have probably seen it on the show a million times. But just don't be awful with it, and I think you'll be all right. They talked about that at Target Girl on a local radio show that syndicated in Boston. People that worked with her called Blaster. That's the thing, is like, that's what's so scary, is like, some people will be like, where do you work, Siike? And it's like, well, I don't want to tell you where I work, even though it's no anyway. But there was a time where I'm like, I don't want to say it because I don't want the wrong person to hear it and they just call and like harass, for no reason. Or maybe just because I made one video that they didn't like and they're just like, we're gonna, go out and ruin his life and stuff. It's like we live in that kind of world where people feel so entitled to their opinion and their viewpoint, or so awful as human beings that they just want to ruin you. And it is scary. It's really weird and scary because I certainly don't want people harassed on my behalf, for sure. Like I see people who say they want the Snyder Cut, and then they call and harass Warner Brothers and some poor guy or girl that's answering the phones there. And it's like, what are you accomplishing by doing that? You're harassing this poor employee who maybe not even be paid. Maybe they're an intern, or maybe they do get paid, and it's just like they work there like, a couple days a week trying to make ends meet out here in LA, and they have to answer this phone and they just hear some idiot going, yeah, what's up with the Snyder Cut? Or that I saw one guy, the entitlement of some of the Snyder Cut fans, not all of them, obviously. There's a lot of great fans in the Snyder Cut wheelhouse, but I saw this one guy make a video and he put on Twitter and YouTube where he has a British accent or whatever. He was faking one, and he called and he's like, hello, I'm, so and so, and I would like to talk to Walter Hamada, please. And they're like, who can I say is calling? And he goes, I'm so and so. And they're like, and what's this about? And he goes, I'm calling about the Snyder Cut, and he was such a pompous prick about it. And he was just like, and then he went online. He's like, yeah, see, we're getting to them, blah, blah. And it's like, no, you wasted some poor young lady's day who has a million things on her plate. You guys don't know what interns and people, assistants do. Like, that job sucks a lot of times. And there's so many things. There's a million things you got to work on. So to have your time wasted and to put her behind on other work just to call and you make a point about, it's like, don't be like that. Don't, like I said, don't let your entitlement, warp reality. And hurt, in some way other people. It's so stupid, the levels I've seen people go to on stuff. And that's not just Snyder Cut fans, a Marvel fan, everyone does it. Like I said, everyone has an entitlement to something. They feel entitled to something. I deserve my cut of this or my version of that or whatever. And it's like, no, you aren't owed jack shit. And the sooner you realize that in life, the more that you can be aware of the stupidity in the world. When you realize nobody owes you a damn thing. Once you understand that, then you can do things for yourself. You can do things for others freely without, this warped perception of reality. So yeah, I try. That's where I'm trying to grow the most is that area too, as a person. Never stop evolving. That I did a book called Elan Vital, and it was about a robot who gets a soul. And the whole message of that was to not stop evolving. That Elan, as a robot with a soul, meets the Twitter crowd in the book, and this was before that became a big thing. Like someone who actually, who read Elan was like, dude, talk about foresight. Like, you had a lot of foresight of what the world was going to be like 5 years after you made that book. And I said, I saw the writing on the wall. I follow patterns. That's kind of how my brain works now. I don't have sometimes a logic side to my brain, so I work on that. And I don't have a creative side to my brain sometimes, so I work on that. But I have a pattern following brain now, due to, I guess, the post damage. And so I connect dots in a way that most people don't. And so I try to follow patterns. And that's what I made that book about, was a robot gets a soul. And in order to prove that he has a soul, he has to create artwork, because art can only come from an emotional place. So they want to know, is he just copying like the statue of David, or is he making his own statue of David with imperfections and flaws? And that's kind of the point of the book, is that this robot going through this journey. And then, of course, going through the journey, he does an art exhibit, and there's all these religious protesters. There's the Twitter crowd, the people who think he's, not inclusive enough because he's a robot with a soul, and other people who think he's the beginning of the end because he's a robot with a soul. And there's all these factions coming at him. And so what he does is he goes online, hacks into all of their personal lives, and releases the skeletons in their closet, the things they hide from people. He reveals all. He's like, look, if we're all on a truth level, and you all are screaming at me for this, this, and this, but you're hypocrites because you too do this, this, and this. And he reveals all these secrets, and it completely shuts the planet down, as far as like everyone just kind of taking a step back. And that was like the big moment in the book, was him doing that, to get back at people, but then him regretting it and showing he does have a soul, because look at how bad he feels for ruining the world, people getting fired, people, by revealing their truths, and truths that they did years ago, digging up old dirt on them, just like the way we do on social media. And again, this book came out like in 2016 or something, so it was a little bit before, it was like kind of the beginning of that, and I just saw that escalating. That's how, when I was like, oh, 5 years from now, this is going to be out of control, and it's way out of control. So that was kind of the message I was trying to get with that book, was truth was a theme, soul obviously was a theme, but also growing as a self, always evolving, and then when you do something that you think is the right thing and you feel triumphant for it, also re-examining it and seeing that maybe you did a very bad thing. So yeah, that's so I'm trying to be aware of the world. That doesn't make me a smarter person. It doesn't make me a great person. I'm just trying to do things that make me get through the day, easier. Um, well, if those judgmental people actually listened to God and Scripture, they wouldn't cast stones in their glass houses. Yes, sir. Me too. Completely agree. Rohit says. I mean, yeah. I mean, sure. Yeah, of course. That's like I said. Everyone on the planet is entitled on some level, and everyone is a hypocrite on some level. Even myself, I'm sure numerous times people will go, well, you said this in this video, but over here you said, it's like, well, in that case, that could just be an example of me growing in taste as a person. That could be the reason, or maybe I could actually be hypocritical on this. So yeah. So when I see these people going like, gotcha, it's kind of like, here's this moment, or you said this, or I called you out for this, or you liked this, so that invalidates your opinion on this or whatever. It's like whatever, like, my job and my role as a YouTuber, I guess, is not to say things that you agree with all the time. It's just to give my perspective and to not be a dick about it, I hope. But if I am, call me out on it. I'll do my best. I'll do my best to grow. Matthew 7:22 to 7:23. Is that what Eddie said? Is Matthew 7:22? Nice. I've read the Bible, but I don't know it. I read the Bible, two reasons. One, it was a book I had in the hospital, so it was like pretty easy to read. But two, also, I really was interested in the stories, like the messages, and also Judas. Judas is such a neat person to me, and I really like the interpretation of Jesus on Jesus Christ Superstar, the movie. And I have a book idea for Judas at some point, and that I may do, but it's going to take a while, and I got one thing at a time. I got to get this current book done. That book sounds amazing. Damn, I don't know. I mean, there's certainly some things I've heard, some of the criticisms of the book, and I completely agree with them. There's balls I dropped in that book. There's points in that book I could have done better. I was very limited because I wrote and drew the book myself, and I used different art styles to tell each different page. Printing quality on it could have been done a little bit better. So I'm trying to work on it now. I'm going to give it out for free on YouTube. I'm trying to edit it together as a movie. I had voice actors do all the voices, and we did the best we could. I recorded it to the best quality I could. We recorded like 2 years ago or something like that, so, or maybe a little bit longer. So I have all the files still on my computer, and my goal is when I'm working on my book in Florida, to maybe start cutting together and making episodes and do like 4 20-minute episodes or 4 10-minute episodes on Alain Vital, and just giving the book away for free. You can, if you look on my channel, you can find in my playlist some Alain Vital videos, but those aren't really storytelling things, but those are just like little glimpses at the project when I was working on it. So you can find those on my YouTube channel if you want to check it out. But the book, I'm just going to edit into a digital format and give it away for free, because I'd rather people check it out and get the message better, and I think it works better as like a movie to watch on YouTube than an actual book. That story sounds like it would destroy me. Robots getting souls, much Kleenex. I love robots, from Transformers onward. But I do. I think about that all the time. I felt after, imagine for a minute, putting yourself in my shoes, waking up in a hospital with very little memory, inability to form words, having to go through physical therapy to walk again, and being detached, just feeling completely detached to the world. You're waking up at like 28 years old, and it's like you're being born for the first time. I it took forever for me to feel like I was a part of humanity. So writing a book about a robot just helped me. There was times where we were maybe gonna make Along the Towel a clone, and I was like, but I feel like the clone thing has been done, and I feel like the robot thing has been done too. But just because I have a more general interest in robots, I went with the robot route. But yeah, I that book was about me going through the same journey that my character was going through, and that's why that book was so hard to make. Was because I was feeling the feelings every page conveyed from the main character. And typically I would say don't do that. Don't try to insert yourself in a story. But this story was a personal project about me examining myself. Who am I? Am I a person who is going to give up? Because right before this was my suicide attempt. I'm like, am I going to be a person that just gives up on life, that just lets the hardships beat me and let it win, and take cut a corner to get out, of this life? Am I going to be that person, or am I going to be someone who faces the challenges head on? And that's what that whole book was about, was me discovering myself and that about myself. Skynet, but passive aggressive. Yeah, it was like a schwarmy, sarcastic, sassy Skynet. I honestly can't blame people thinking the robot is the end. Most media ends with AI resulting in the extinction of the human race. Even stuff like Mega Man, the book sounds really great though. Oh no, and that's exactly what I wanted to explore, was justifying people's feelings towards him. Like as much as him, and that's why I said when he does this thing where he kind of lashes back at the world and kind of exposes them, he sees how horrible that was, and he sees that maybe there was some merit to that, because they thought he was going to be the end, and look at the action he took. He basically silenced the world, and some people, their secrets when they got out, and they're being lambasted for it. They committed suicide. They were being bullied. They were online, and it ruined the world. Him doing that, and so he basically did exactly what those people felt like he was gonna do, was destroy them, and he did in a way. So no, that's what the book kind of has, that exploration. I didn't want the book to feel one-sided. And that's why it was so hard to write it, because I was trying to put myself in the shoes of people who felt the opposite that I felt on the issues that we talked about in the book. So I don't know if I did a great job. Like I said, I got criticisms on it, and I agree with them. But that's part of writing too, is you grow. You put something out there, people like it or don't like it, and then you try to listen to what the feedback is, and you go, okay, what can I learn from this so that my next project has fewer flaws? Unfortunately, I've overanalyzed it too much, and it's hindered in some ways the book I've been working on, King of Neverland. There's pressure because it's a sequel to Peter Pan, so I feel the pressure there on myself. There was a chance where it was going to be a movie, so I was formatting it and writing it in a certain way. Then there was a time where they wanted it to be multiple books, and so I was dragging the story out and decompressing it, and I just hated all these avenues that we went. And finally I was like, no, I'm just going to go back to just telling my story. And if it leads to more, great. But if not, I gotta put this book to bed. I gotta end this so I can work on something else somewhere down the line, or so I can feel less guilty making YouTube videos. So I can finish. Don't have another book to work on. Wait, you draw? No. So I used to draw. I don't anymore. But the book was me trying to explore that. And I did different styles of art. So one page I would draw, but another page might be photography. So it was me exploring art as well, every forms of art. And then also saying that there's art in retail, there's art in, this was before I was working at Lego when I made this book. There's art in, washing a car, like there's art in these small things these jobs that people look down on. There can be art in that, and there can be pride in that kind of work. But then there also can be, stacking stones and making statues out of stacked stones without using any support, just stacking them. And I did that, so it was just me doing different styles of art to tell the story. My professor always said to write what you know. Yeah, I mean, writing what you know is great, but you have to expand what you know. So I think a lot of times writers in comics, they're like, oh, write what you know. And that's why their stories all are the same. It's like, all right, you did a great job on this story, but now you're just doing the same thing every time, and it's boring. And so, yes, write what you know, but constantly, improve what you know. Expand what you know is a better word. So yeah, write what you know, but expand what you know each time. And that way you're writing about different things, or you're exploring different themes and avenues each time you write. So you're just not this one trick pony over and over and over. And I think that's why a lot of things suck nowadays, is because, or we feel like it sucks, is because we're like, we've been here, we've done this. This writer has done it before, and they're just regurgitating because it's safer, because that's what they know. They limit what they know, and they're like, oh, I wrote this because I know it. And then they go, now I'm going to write it again because I know it. And I'm going to write it again because I know it. And that's not the way to be as a writer. I wish Marvel Comics, so that quote, write what you know, should also, it should have an add-on, like write what you know, but always expand what you know. I wish Marvel Comics would create brand new Marvel Universe separate from the 616, where symbiotes did not originate a symbiote god. I think what Donny Cates has done is an interesting concept, but I preferred it the other way, to be honest. I mean, here's the thing about comics, like things come and go. Like I'll be honest with you. If somebody was like, hey, in 5 years, let's say I wrote a couple books between now and 5 years from now, and I'm in my early 40s, and someone says, hey, would you like to write Venom? Like, let's just live in a dream world for a second. And let's say I've made it to the point where someone offered me the job, and I said, oh, I'll write Venom. I like that character. I promise you I won't reference anything that Donny Cates has done. I mean, maybe I'll tip a nod to it, because I'll understand that there are fans out there, and it's not about ego. You got to be like, oh, well, it did happen, so we can tip our hat to it. But I wouldn't continue any threads that were from his story, and I'm not obligated to. I would go back and tell the type of Venom stories that I liked, but it'll be hard to see Venom go back after all this, like him fighting a god and being offered a role in the Avengers and all this stuff. Like he's growing at a rate that I'm just like, I am really interested to see Venom stories 5 years from now, where they try to follow this, because it's so crazy. I mean, after he became a space knight, they Mike Costa brought him back down to Earth and reality for a little bit, and then put him back on Eddie, because I felt like that was probably the only thing he could do. But now that Eddie's fighting gods and stuff, it's gonna be really interesting. You like the null concept? I like some of the concepts in the Donny Cates stuff. I'm not a fan of the executions, as you guys know. Donny must have misunderstood. Write what you know with write what you stole. I mean, I know Eddie and I talk about that. I mean, I'm not going to accuse the guy of stealing stuff, but I will say it's insane the level of coincidences that there are, when he says, like, oh, Cosmic Ghost, and I said that when Cosmic Ghost Rider was first announced. I'm like, oh, that's funny. That's like that Guardians of the Galaxy issue where there was a Ghost Rider in the year 3000, and he had a space bike, like Lobo style, and he was driving around in space. And then, Donny Cates comes out and goes, when some fan figured that issue existed, he's like, never heard of that issue. And it's like, I mean, that's possible, but the coincidence is great. Or Venom having wings. I'm like, Venom's had wings before. And everyone's like, yeah, but he's using it in a new way. He's like, he can propel himself in the air. He's not just using them to glide. And I'm just like, okay, like wings are wings. Like, yes, there are flapping wings that can lift you off the ground, and then there's gliding things like Spider-Man and Nightwing have, or whatever, when they glide. But still, it's like, well, the imagery is the same. And then it's like, oh, well, we added this element to it. It's like, yeah, but that's been done before, and we added this element to it, but yeah, that's been done before. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, if he would just say, oh, these are homages to these older stories, this is me trying to incorporate that lore into the modern day stuff, that'd be one thing. But to sit there and say, oh, well, I didn't know that existed, or I came up with that, and that's just a coincidence. It's like, well, there's a lot of coincidences. But I'm not going to accuse a guy of stealing stuff. Like, I think he has a one pattern. Like, he wrote a Thanos story, which was really good, but it had an ending where it kind of retconned the whole story. So he got to tell a story with no real ramifications. So he got to do a bunch of fan fiction stuff, like, Silver Surfer holding Mjolnir and stuff. And he got to do all these moments, and Punisher being the Ghost Rider of the future or whatever. And it's like these are all dumb fan fiction-y stuff, but they kind of worked because it was in a non-continuity story, or a story that got erased by the end of it. Then when he gets into continuity, he's writing Doctor Strange. He's like, all right, let's turn everyone into a Ghost Rider. So there's moments in his Damnation run where everybody gets flaming Ghost Rider skulls. And you're like, okay. And then and now he goes on to Venom, and he's like, all right, let's make this absolute carnage thing, and let's bring in all these symbiotes, which has already been done, obviously, but then let's bring in this god, and let's tie it to Thor, because he liked some story that Jason Aaron wrote, and and he became friends with Jason Aaron. So I don't know, it's hard to say. If I was in his position and I make friends with other writers, and I'm like, hey, I like your stuff. Like, if I became friends with Jeff Johns, and then someone was like, hey, you're going to write Green Lantern now, of course I would reference Jeff Johns' stuff in my book. So I'm not down on Donny for some of the stuff he does. Absolutely not. I feel like I would probably do the same in his shoes. But I feel like he does have this one pattern of things, and he just kind of loops right now. But I do see him trying to grow. So I got to give him credit there. I think he is trying, and he does with his independent stuff for sure. But with his Marvel stuff, I feel like it's, it's just not working for me. This is how I feel about it. Shots fired. True, it can get stated the writer does not evolve. Good point. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is writing what you know is great, but if you just know the same stuff 10 years later that you knew 10 years before, then yeah, in my mind, you're not a good writer. And that's not a comment to Donnie Cates. That's just wrapping up what me and Lisa were talking about. It would be cool if someone offered the chance for you to write Venom. I mean, that's sure, but I mean, that's such a long shot. Like someone was saying, they're like, oh, dude, if by the time the third movie comes out, you'll probably have done like 900 episodes of the Venom vlog. Do you think that gives you some kind of merit to write a Venom story? And I said, no, I think me being a fan and a good writer, hopefully, would give me that merit. Me doing a YouTube show is just me connecting with Venom fans. So I just want to connect with more Venom fans. I don't think this will ever lead me to a job. But like I said before, what I would like to do is like write a coffee table book. Like if they're like, oh, like the making of Venom, the Venom movie, and so I would like to do something like that because we followed the movie so much. That's kind of what our show is. If you go back and just watch the episodes that are focused on movie news, we've tracked this movie, and all of that stuff would be the kind of stuff I would put in a book, like a coffee table book about the making of Venom from a fan's perspective. So that's the kind of stuff I would like to do. Writing a Venom comic book, I don't know if I'm cut out for that, to be honest with you. I feel like maybe I could do a miniseries as long as it wasn't in continuity. And that's probably all I could do. I'm being 100% honest. Like, just because I love the character, I'm not the kind of writer that a lot of comic book writers are nowadays. I can't write like Jeff Johns or Grant Morrison or what Donnie Cates is trying to do, or Tom King. Like, these guys try to do these long, drawn out epics. And it's like, I hate that stuff. What I liked about Jeff Johns and Grant Morrison's epics is that there are chapters in it that feel completed, and they all connect together to tell this big story. All these other guys just drag their stuff out, and it makes it so boring to me. So I can't write like that. So I have the kind of brain to write like maybe like a 3 to 5 issue miniseries on Venom, and that's probably all I'm good for. One time, probably, and that's probably all I'm good for. Ouch, the sky got dark with all the shade you just threw. Eddie's mullet. Oh yeah, Eddie's mullet. He's a man. I think I sent you 5 examples of stuff he borrowed. That's what I'm saying. Is like Eddie's mullet. Like, I've been aware of this stuff, but I haven't made videos. I'm not here to call Donnie Cates out, on my show or anything like that. I do sometimes in my reviews where I'll be like, oh, I've seen this before. I've, whatever. But no, Eddie's great. He sent me all these things on Instagram, I think. And it was like, look, this is from this and this is from this. And I was just laughing because I'm like, yep, I've noticed almost all of these, except like 1 or 2. I think you missed that one. And yeah, it's just like, yeah. But then of course, when people ask Donnie about it, he's just like, oh, it's a coincidence. I'm like, man, so many coincidences. I'm actually kind of frustrated with the writers not picking up the ends. The descent still has no conclusion. Oh, does it? Yeah, writers picking up. I mean, that's, yeah, exactly. In this channel called Thinking Critical. I don't think he's a Comicsgate guy or not. I don't think so. But he's had Comicsgate people on his show, but he's had non-Comicsgate. I think he's kind of like a facilitator, like a middleman, kind of like how I feel like I am. Although I don't really have those discussions on my channel because I don't care. They're not important to me. It doesn't matter. But his show, every once in a while I'll catch an episode, and I think I'm subscribed to him. I think his name's Wes or something like that. But he did an episode that went up today that I watched this morning when I was laying in bed. I was like, you know what, I'm sleeping in today, and then I was like, you know what, let me see what's on YouTube. And I saw his video, and I was like, I'm gonna listen to this, and I did, and it was great. I commented on the video too, and he had an editor from Boom Studios. Who works on like Darkwing Duck and stuff, and he had him on, and they were talking about the industry and how writers approach things and how editors approach things and how people just don't really know what their jobs are, and editors nowadays are more of schedulers, and they kind of make sure the book comes out on time, and they don't really have input on stuff or help shape the story or help challenge the writers. And I'm like, that's funny, because that's one of the reasons why I left the industry, was because anyone I challenged would get in my face. And I'm just like, dude, I'm just trying to make the best story possible. And it doesn't mean I'm right. I'm just trying to offer another perspective. That's why I'm here, right? As an editor, and I'm trying to help out, with the book. And yeah, I want it on time, but I mean, it'll take you like a day to make these changes, if that. So like, why don't we just do it? Yeah, I think it'll make the story cooler. And if you disagree, that's fine. But it wasn't even that they disagreed. They just hated that I had an opinion on their stuff. And that got tired. I got bored of that. I'm like, you know what? If we're not here to grow as creative types, what am I doing here? So there is that level where people, they just don't want to grow. And then I've had people like Omar, he was actually pretty open sometimes too. I mean, of course we would collide on stuff, but there were times where he's like, you know what, that is a good idea, let's do it. And I like that. I like that collaboration. That's good for storytelling. Things shouldn't be made by one person, and if they are, it should be a passion fan project that doesn't cost a company money. So like, I think a lot of times these writers at Marvel and DC, they're trying to do what they want to do, and it's like, but these aren't your characters. And that's where that entitlement comes in. It's like, these aren't your characters. Like, you're being an a-hole. Of course you should do interesting stuff with the characters, sure, but some of the stuff they do just feels really personal, and like, I got to put myself in the character's shoes. And I'm like, dude, if I write Nightwing is not going to act or sound like me at all. He's going to act and sound like freaking Nightwing, or at least the Nightwing, that the versions I've liked of the character from previous runs. So yeah, I'm not here to ruin a character or make them like me, like Tom King does with Batman. I'm like, you made a I don't know, Bruce Wayne in that run just feels like a parody of a human being. He's so all over the place. Like, he's such a mess of a character, and not like in an interesting way, like in an inconsistent way. And so I'm just like, so when writers inject themselves, I'm like, don't do it. Fans can do that. Fans can do that to connect with the character. But when you flip on the other side of the table and you become the writer, don't do that. That's my advice. Don't do that. Yeah, Dark Surfer was one of the ideas he copied. Of course. Yeah, I mean, all the hold on, I missed something. Oh, there's a lot of comments. Let me catch up. All the angst, Lisa says, and constant life or death situations with no levity is exhausting for me. I can't binge Kate stuff. Too stressful. I do appreciate his talent, though. Yeah, I mean, he's not an untalented guy. And like I said, his indie stuff is pretty good, but I'm just not digging his Venom stuff anymore. And yeah, it's all just like, it's the end of the world. It's like, it can't be the end of the world every freaking week. And then it loses the impact is gone. Abdul says, maybe they could have taken a bit from the Alien franchise, but instead of having a symbiote god, maybe a symbiote queen, try and keep it a bit grounded. I think I didn't like Null killing Celestials. Yeah, I mean, again, like, that's just him. He wants his story to feel important. And in order to do that, he has to inject things in it that make it bigger than it should be. And so you're right. If they would have just done something like, oh, there's an entity that's in, that the symbiotes have buried or is dormant, like Apocalypse with mutants, they're like, all right, he's the first mutant. All right, what's the first symbiote? And maybe that's like, or like the first Lantern. I think Jeff Johns did that. Whatever. It's like, yeah, you're right. Maybe that would have been a better route. But even then again, it would have still been borrowed or copied, right? So either way, we'd probably still be giving him guff over it. But I also understand change is important to keep characters interesting. That's exactly it. So if a bunch of, 10 to 20-year-olds who are reading Venom for the first time are loving what Donny Cates is doing, then that's what's going to keep the character around for another 20, 30 years, is their love of this version and these stories and everything. So you gotta, as a fan, that's where the entitlement, you gotta step back a little bit and go, all right, let this group have their Venom. Because if they get to have their Venom, then you will get another chance at getting your version later on. Same with Man of Steel. I know I'm down on that movie. And it's not a movie for me, for sure. And Batman vs. Superman, I like Zack Snyder's stuff, but I didn't like his DC stuff. But there was a time where I was getting mad. I was online screaming at people about Man of Steel. And after like a month or so or 2 months of doing that, I was like, what am I doing? Like, it's just a movie. And if these people really like it that much, why can't they have it? Like why that? And that's where that was one of the first big fandom moments I had, where I realized my entitlement was awful and toxic. And I said, dude, pass the torch. Let them have their Superman. Like, if they like this version of Superman and they can justify the actions he takes, let them have it. Like, it's not your version, man. Like, walk away. This is how Superman's going to stick around for another 80 years, is by you walking away right now from this argument. And I'm glad I was able to do that. The hardest thing to do in your life is change. Everybody wants everyone else to change, but none of us are willing sometimes to change as people. It's really hard to do sometimes, because it costs looking inward. And most people don't want to admit that they're wrong, so they don't want to look inward. So that's my advice to you. If you want other people to change, you have to be willing to change too. That's one of the reasons I'm moving, is I looked at my life and I said, I'm in a rut. I know I don't show it on this show, or on social media sometimes, but I am in a rut. I am in a pattern of behavior that I don't want to be in anymore. I go to work up until recently, because it was a very stressful job when I was, standing up for a coworker and going through some of this other stuff. It was stressful on me, and that affects my health. And then I come home and I have a roommate who's a great guy, but he wants to talk every night when I come home, and I'm I'm, it takes a lot for me to go and stand for 8 hours and talk to strangers and keep my energy up and keep a smile on my face. And it takes a lot out of it. Take it out of a normal person, but someone who has some of my obstacles, it takes more out. And then when I come home, I just want to walk my dog and relax. And if I want to talk, I'll do it on a YouTube video or record or something. But so when I come home exhausted, and that exhausts me more and taps me out more, it's like it makes me not want to create things. It makes me not want to make videos and stuff. And that's why my content is reduced, not just because of lack of Venom movie news, but because I've been getting it from both ends. And I'm in this, they say, crazy is when you try to do the same thing over and over and expect different results. And I feel like that's what I've been doing. I've been doing the same routine daily, expecting my life to get better, and it's not. And of course it's not gonna, because I'm doing the same stuff every day. So that's what this move is. It's me looking inward and going, we need a change in our life. We need to change ourselves as a person, so that way we can continue to grow in ways that are necessary and are better for our health. Especially with me getting older, I got to start thinking about this stuff. I'm not 22 anymore. Lugging cables through Disney parks and lighting movie sets. I'm not that kid anymore. So it's evolving and maturing the best I can, but realizing that I need a change. And so this is me doing it, and it's hard to do. It's really hard, and it's scary. Even at my age, it's scary. Bendis is a great example of a writer who refused to evolve. I really enjoyed his New Avengers run and Civil War, but it has been downhill since then. He didn't write Civil War though. Unless he wrote Civil War 2, and I don't remember that. I never read Civil War 2, but I think Mark Millar wrote Civil War. But yeah, his Avengers stuff, yeah, it was pretty good in the beginning. It got me to read it. I never liked Avengers growing up. I liked CATACUTAN, but I never liked any of the other members of the Avengers when I was a kid. I was an X-Men fan, and I liked Spider-Man, and none of them were on the Avengers except Beast was on the West Coast Avengers, so I read that book because I like Beast. And that introduced me to War Machine, or not, that didn't introduce me. I knew who War Machine was, but that introduced me to Vision and some of the other characters. Mr. What's his name? Wonder Man. I like Wonder Man also. Lots of Venom stories and online comics out there. Just check Tumblr. There you go. There's old stuff too. That's the thing. I like diving back. If you guys haven't checked out my podcast, I will start. So I record a Superman podcast. It's on Patreon. They're like 1 hour to 1.5 hours long. They're really deep dives into like Golden Age stories, Silver Age stories. I'm having so much fun doing it. I'm going to keep them. I think there's real value in the $3. I know some people don't have that money, and I completely agree. But I feel like there's real value in those episodes. I structure them. I put in sound bites. I make it like a real show. And I involve questions. I do questions every episode. So for me, I think there's real value in spending $3 to get those 4 episodes a month. So they're going to stay exclusive on Patreon. But what I'm going to do is each episode, I'm going to cut out one segment. And I'm going to all right, I reviewed 4 issues, we did 4 different discussions in the last episode, for example, where we talked about the Forever People. We talked about the first time Superman met Robin and how Robin got the name Nightwing from Superman. We talked about all these things, fun talking about it, and the first time the Justice League formed. Those are the 4 topics we talked about in the last episode. I'm going to cut the Robin segment out and post that here on YouTube, so that way you can get a sample of the kind of stuff I do over on Patreon, so that way you're not fully excluded. But I feel like there's real value in the $3 that people are donating to listen to those episodes. So that's why the full episodes are going to stay exclusive over there. So I can't remember why I went down that path, or talking about that. But you were talking about Bendis, and yeah, like Bendis was. So anyway, that's my mention of Patreon. That's my Patreon plug. But you will still get that content, samples of it over here for those of you who are interested in it. But I know my DC stuff doesn't get a lot of views on this channel, so that's why I also feel okay with it being exclusive to Patreon. But I'm really happy that some of the people that have been listening, who watch this show, who subscribed over there, have been telling me this is great. I'm learning so much about Superman, and they're asking me questions about Superman, and then I answer those in the next episode, and it's very interactive, and it's a lot of fun. So I want to make sure I still do one of those a week, but I also want to make sure that doesn't hurt my Venom vlog content too. So now that after I have my surgery, we'll get back to that, and once I move to Florida, we'll get back to and we'll actually make a schedule. Actually, is my plan when I move to Florida, is we'll actually make a schedule for YouTube and stuff. So I like the concept of Civil War, but the story itself is a mixed bag for me. In my opinion, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2 and multiple Marvel's MCU did it better. Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. And I'm still going to be retrospective on Absolute Carnage. The comments jumped ahead. I got to catch up. I'm so sorry. I'm going to do my retrospective on Absolute Carnage. I just need some time to actually binge it. Currently, Donnie is on high end of his mixed bagness. On the high end of his mixed bag. Scream's really good though. Yeah, so I read the first issue and I liked it. When it comes out in trade, I'm still going to cover those stories, but I'm just going to wait till they're out in trade because I just don't like doing reviews of them. So when they're out in trade, I'll buy the trades and we'll do discussion videos. So definitely that content, Ravencroft, Scream, what's the Spider-Man book going on right now? Alien Reality, all of them. I'm going to buy them in trade. And we'll talk about actually Alien Reality. I think I've been buying in single issue actually, but I like Peter David, so I got to support the guy. So yeah, so I'll promise I'm going to cover all that stuff. We'll do it closer to when the movie comes out because I'm going to need more Carnage content comic wise for the movie anyway and post movie. So that'll give me opportunities to do that. I like how well the tie-in issues in Civil War supported the story more than just the main story. Yeah, I like Scream a lot. The art really helps set the tone. I've been enjoying Frank Thierry on Ravencroft too. That's what I heard, and I like Frank Thierry in general. But it was funny. I guessed what was going on, and I was like, oh, I'm sure they're just going to reveal that some relative of Cletus Cassidy is the one who started Ravencroft. And Eddie's mullet was like, dang, you guessed it. That's what happens. And I'm like, sometimes things are just too predictable. Like, they just are. And see, I could have easily been like, "Ooh, I got the scoop." I could have easily made that video and done that and gotten clicks and everyone be like, "How'd you know? He must have an insider." And it's like, nope, lucky guess. Just like a lot of people nowadays, they lucky guess shit. But yeah, Civil War tie-ins, they were pretty good. I like the Iron Man and Captain America tie-ins. Those were good issues for Civil War, actually. And then what was the other one I liked? The Spider-Man ones were really good. I love when he went and fought Kingpin. That was awesome. Like Peter Parker went into jail, took off his Spider-Man mask, and beat the living crap out of Kingpin in front of all the inmates. And he said, "If you ever come at me again, I know where you are, and I'm just going to come back here and humiliate you again in front of all these people," or whatever. Like it was like Peter Parker's balls finally dropped, and I was like, "Yeah, dude! Like that's awesome! Like yes, that's great." And then after that, his balls shrink back up in whatever. And then I actually like Dan Slott's runs. People give me guff about it all the time, and I know Dan Slott blocked me. I don't care. Ultimately, I liked his run. It had some fun references. I love that he brought back Philip Urich and he made him the new Hobgoblin. Hobgoblin is one of my favorite Spider-Man villains, and after Kraven the Hunter, and to see Philip Urich from that run. Yeah, I like that he gave an origin to how to Nowhere's head got cut off. I don't remember the celestial name. Oh yeah, right. Yeah, he wanted to tie into that. Yeah, sure. But again, I like his concept, I like his ideas, but I think some of it just comes from, he's like, I want my story to be very involved in the Marvel Universe. That's how I'm going to tell a different Venom story, which is great. He's certainly succeeding at that for sure. But if he was doing that and it was written better, I probably would still be on board. But like Venom Island, someone was like, oh, Carnage and the symbiote, Eddie's like took it off and he's burning it and he's got like a weapons cache and he's like using flamethrowers and all these things to like fight the Carnage symbiote. I'm just like, and it doesn't sound good at all to me. And then Dylan talks to Nolan now, everyone will tell me stuff, and sometimes the preview page will go up on Twitter and I'll click on it just to read like one of the preview pages, and I'm like, wow, I'm really not missing much at all, actually, in my opinion. Instead of a null, it should be Kroba is coming. Yeah, Kroba from the -1 issue. That's right. That was fun. That was fun to talk about that issue, actually. Oh, come on. All right, let me see. I want Eddie Mullet says, I want the Xenophage back. Is that too much to ask for? No, yeah, that'd be cool too. That's the kind of Venom stuff I would write. If I was writing Venom, I'd be like, all right, let's bring Pyre back for like an issue or two. Let's have Venom. I would do one and done stories with Venom. I would treat it like that. It would almost be like almost a detective thing in a way, where Eddie Brock is like slumming it, and he's trying to get he can't get a job in New York, so he decided to create like a social media account, like a website or a YouTube channel, something like that, where he's trying to get stories out there, and that's how he's trying to make his living off of, because that's the world we live in, and that's what I always say that about Eddie Brock is like, if you translate his story to nowadays, he is a modern day person that gets blasted on social media and loses his job. Like if you look at him from that point of view, he reports on a story, he gets an element of it wrong, so people cast him out. Like he has a blue check mark next to Eddie Brock's name on Twitter, and then people bum rush him and they go like, you're this, you're that, you lied, all this other stuff. And whether he intentionally lied and cut a corner, or whether he did it on accident, either way his life gets destroyed by people turning on him. And I like that. I'm like, that's so adaptable to today's world. So it would be cool to see Eddie use social media to build himself back up. And that's how I would approach the story is Eddie is making a living off of hits from YouTube videos or donations from fans of his. Because, we live in a world where you could do something crappy and you still have people be your fan, a fan of yours. And so I would play that up. That would be my social commentary on the world, is that Eddie is a hero to some people and he's a villain to other people. He's the gray area, and use social media to do that. And him, using a YouTube type platform or a Vero type platform or something to kind of build his life back up. And he's reporting stuff. So he's going to look into, like a disturbance in this part of town. And when he gets there, Pyre shows up. And so, and then he's like, all right, Pyre, this is your chance to tell your story. And you can tell like really human stories with Eddie Brock and have him connect with these villains that he used to know. Some of them maybe have changed and become better people, or Xenophage, for example, he runs into Xenophage. Maybe he gets dipped into the madness again, or whatever. Like there's just so many things you could do. And that's the kind of stuff I would tell. If someone was like, hey, would you write a Venom story? I would be like, all right, give me like 5 to, maybe 10 issues. And this is what I would do with it. And it would be like Eddie trying to rebuild his life using social media, which is, if you adapted his story modern day, is how he was torn down. His life was torn down. So I don't know. That's just the approach I would do. And that's just off the top of my head. If I put more work into it, I could probably come up with a really solid story for that. Let's see. Xenophage would be really interesting considering Donnie's retcons. Yeah, that's for sure. I miss Venom being a street level anti-hero. I mean, I do miss that too. And hopefully I was thinking they would maybe go back to it after Absolute Carnage, but now he's on an island. And I'm like, well, granted, that's cool because it's the island that he was on before, but still it's not, I don't know. It's still building towards the big Null thing. And Null really is taking a sweet ass time coming to Earth. Like, it's like, to me, I'm like, once he got out, I'm like, all right, well, Clintar is far out in the galaxy, sure, but we saw him in Incoming wipe out like one planet, and then now he's just spending time talking to Dylan. I'm just like, dude, just get to Earth and wipe it out. Like, what's the holdup here? And so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what story they tell after Venom Island. If it's Null is here, then okay, they didn't really waste that much time, but we'll see. I feel like it's going to get dragged out though. Xenoage could eat Null. That's true. Totally agree, Abdul says to Eddie's mullet. Or to Swordsman, he says, totally agree. Eddie says, what would your fanboy story for Venom or symbiote be? Mine would be give Kane a symbiote, preferably Toxin. I think there was a lot of wasted opportunities with exploring Ben Reilly in Absolute Carnage and whether he has a codex or not. Because this Ben Reilly is a clone of a clone of a clone of a clone. He's like, Ben Reilly's literal DNA was cloned like 100 times. But does that mean the codices or codex is still inside of him? I feel like there was room to explore that with that character and involve Scarlet Spider in the storyline and even Kane in the storyline, especially since Kane at one point, like, didn't he lobotomize Carnage? Yeah, I think we're going to get to that story coming up. I think Kane lobotomizes Cletus Cassidy. So, yeah, I don't know why they weren't involved. I don't know why. It's probably because he wrote a bad story that didn't have a reason to involve them. But if he would have wrote a better story, he could have involved them, I think. But that's just my opinion. Yeah, Cap is the only one I like as well out of the classic team. Yeah, I've always been a Cap fan. It's because he used to pop up in X-Men a lot when I was a kid. And so I kind of grew to like him that way. It's a real shame Cap doesn't have a good writer for a solo book. Who's writing Cap right now? I have no idea. I don't follow the character anymore. I ever since the movies came out, like Ed Brubaker, I left when Ed Brubaker left, and I haven't really read Cap too much since then. I think maybe an issue here or there, but Ed Brubaker did a solid run. I really liked what he did with Bucky, and I just decided not to go forward anymore. And after the movies came out, I feel like everyone's trying to write their version of the movie Cap, and it's like I like movie Cap, but that's not comic book Cap. And so again, I'm stepping back from this generation of Cap stories. Slot's run was really good at the beginning. After Superior was ended, it was bad. Yeah, I liked up until the end of Superior. That's true. There was a couple pockets of stuff after Superior moments that I liked, but you're right. After Superior, I kind of drifted off from the book. I love the beginning of Dan's run. What is wrong with my voice? Sorry, I'm so sorry. I love the beginning of Dan's run to the end of Spider Island and his Red Goblin arc. Yeah, Red Goblin was pretty fun too. I actually like that. We're going to talk about that with Anti-Venom stuff and Carnage coming up for sure. Lisa says the Enemy Within, Knights of Vengeance, and The Hunger are my favorites. I love Enemy Within. Rereading that, I realized, because as a kid, I don't think I really liked that book too much. Rereading it as an adult, I was like, this is one of the best miniseries of Venom in the 90s, is Enemy Within. And we do have some other ones, Tooth and Claw, License to Kill, and the finale. We're going to talk about all those coming up this season on the show as well. The art and wit of these stories is Venom happy placed, drowned by Morbius's expression when Venom saves him is hilarious. Yeah, there's some great Morbius moments in that book, and that's why way back when I read that, I was like, I hope they make a Morbius movie and Venom and Morbius get to interact. And then they announced the Jared Leto movie, and then, now they might actually meet, and that'd be cool. Abdul message retracted. Oh, so I'm sorry I missed it, man. Repeat whatever you said. I don't know why I did not retract it. I don't know what happened. What you would do would be great. Are you talking about my Venom stuff? Because I'm behind on Eddie Brock, the YouTuber. I would love that, says Suki. Okay, very interesting. I kind of like to see Eddie team up with J. Jonah Jameson for a new show. Hey, there you go. That would be really nice. That's a great idea. Noel's taking his time like Riot did getting to San Francisco. Yeah, right. He's like, oh, I'll just hang out with this old lady for 3 months. That's a good idea. Yeah, actually having J. Jonah Jameson, or even having J. Jonah Jameson interview, or him have J. Jonah on as an episode where he gets to interview J. Jonah Jameson. He's like, hey, your paper is the one that blasted me with a photo from Peter Parker and got me to lose my job, and then have them talk, and have Eddie and then maybe have Eddie at times like the symbiote in Eddie's head going, maybe J. Jonah Jameson's being himself. He's being very aggressive. And have the symbiote go, eat him, just eat him. And he's like, no, we're not going to eat him. And then J. Jonah Jameson stopped talking. And then he's like, it's just my other, don't worry, keep talking. Because obviously he's going to be a YouTuber, but he's not going to have a secret identity. He's going to let people know he's Venom because that's what Eddie Brock does. So that'd be fun. And so, yeah, J. Jonah Jameson would just get eat him, what? That'd be kind of funny. Stegman told me at a signing, Donnie hates Kane. Kane lobotomized Carnage and minimum Carnage. That's what it was. Yeah, I heard that too. I never understood. You know what? I know I normally don't drink on a show, but clearly I need it. My voice, I can't seem to clear it, so I'm so sorry about this. I guess I've been talking for an hour and a half, so normally I don't like, if I'm playing a game stream, I usually have drinks there, but on a show like this, I find it a little unprofessional, so I'm sorry about that, but I needed to clear my throat. And that's why I usually keep a Gatorade around, just for that reason. But yeah, I never understood that. I've heard people say oh, I don't like this character, so I'm going to write this book that this character might appear in, and I'm just not going to use them. And it's like, I never understood that. I feel like that comes from a place of entitlement and ego as well. And it's like, all right, you don't like Kane? Fine. Then find a story that you can tell with Kane that would make you like him. Challenge yourself as a writer. I don't think Donnie knows how to do that yet as a writer. I think he is just like, hey, I'm doing what I can. I'm doing my best, and that's good enough for me. And it's like, well, he's young still. Maybe in a couple years he'll grow out of that. I would. How long should the Venom 2 movie be? I'm hoping it's at least 2 hours. That'd be great. I hope it's not like an hour and 40 minutes or like the first one was or whatever it was. So yeah, hopefully it's about 2 hours. I would give the Venom symbiote the power to temporarily turn into anti-venom without killing it. Oh, yeah? I like the anti-venom concept. I think it was a really neat thing when they introduced that to Eddie Brock with Mr. Negative, which is why I would, if I was writing a Venom book, Mr. And they don't really anymore in Spider-Man. So I would like to bring Martin Lee back and make him a recurring Venom villain, since he at one point changed Eddie Brock's life in many ways. And I also really like the idea of Alchemax being as a supporting cast. I would probably bring back Dr. Dan or whatever his name was, and Liz Allen. I would probably bring those characters back if I was writing a Venom book. I would probably, even for the YouTube show, have Eddie Brock go interview um, Liz Allen for sure. And I would probably find a way to bring Anne Weying back, actually, because I thought her death was handled so badly. It's one thing to have a character die and bring them back when they have a good death, but I felt like Anne Weying had a terrible and stupid and pointless death, and so I would probably try to find a way to bring Anne back that made sense in as best it can. So yeah, those are the kind of stuff I would probably do with Venom. Venom needs to team up with Morbius more. I would definitely have Morbius be a recurring character in a Venom comic book. I would, absolutely. After reading Enemy Within, 100%. Yeah, I was talking about your Venom idea. Oh, cool, thanks, man. Well, no, everyone in here has got great ideas. Like, actually, this is shaping up to be a really great. Maybe we could do a fan fiction Venom vlog live stream where we all just throw our ideas at each other, because this is technically a Seek and Destroy episode where I'm talking about my life and stuff. And by the way, 10 people and 10 thumbs up. Thank you so freaking much for that. That means a lot to me. That's awesome. Look at that perfect record. Perfect. 10 out of 10. Now watch, one of you is going to take your thumbs up away just to get at me. Venom needs to team up with Morbius more is true, and I would, like I said, I'd have him be a recurring character. Agree 100%, Lisa says to Swordsman. Thank you guys very much. Hi, Lonely. What's up, Lonely? Welcome. Howdy. It's okay. It's okay. He pretty much had Ben Reilly do nothing in Damnation. No, I know. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's true. And that was the frustrating, because I was reading Scarlet Spider because it's Peter David. I was reading that book and I loved what Peter David was doing with Kane and Ben. And I liked the path Ben was on for redemption. But yeah, once we got to, it was like, oh, here's Scarlet Spider with guns and machine guns on him. And I'm just like, I remember they did that issue once. And again, that's another borrowed idea. There was Scarlet Spider for a while. They canceled all the Spider-Man books and they changed the names to Amazing Scarlet Spider and Spectacular Scarlet Spider and all that stuff. They changed the names of the books for like 2 or 3 months, kind of like they did with Age of Apocalypse with X-Men. And on one of the covers, there's a Scarlet Spider jumping, and he's got like a thing of bullets around his waist, or around his chest, and around his waist he has pouches like with extra ammunition, and he's got 2 machine guns, and he's jumping up and he's like doing this. And then so when I saw that image in Damnation, I'm like, wow, that's just really just ripped off the cover of that old comic. But I bet you if you ask Donnie Cates about that, he'll go, oh, I never read that Scarlet Spider comic. So it's like just another coincidence, I guess. It's not cool to treat previous characters and their writers with contempt in hopes to boost your own run. That's pretty much it. And like I said, even though I'm not a fan of Donnie's, if someone one day gave me the Venom book to write, I would still, just because I know there's fans of it, I would tip my hat and put nods to his run or things that happened in his run. But I just wouldn't bring Null back or anything. Like, and it's not that I hate that character, or maybe if I saw an opportunity to explore Null in the way that Donnie isn't. Like, Null seems like a very two-dimensional and boring and flat villain. And then when the one chance we got to seeing him with any kind of plan before he's coming back was in Silver Surfer, that miniseries, and he was just as two-dimensional and boring as that one too. So yeah, so maybe if there was a chance I could actually tell a story with Null, I wouldn't rule it out, but it wouldn't be my go-to story elements to pull from, because again, it would just be too cosmic for the type of Venom story I want to tell. But maybe there's room in there to explore the Null character without telling this maybe a depowered Null is like someone that Eddie interacts with, and we actually explore Null as a character. I don't know. That's where I would go with that. Yeah, Mr. Negative would be better as a Venom villain. Yeah, he'd be great. I'd love to see that. And then you could have moments of anti-Venom stuff anytime. Lonely says, hey, Lisa, hey, what's up? Hey, see, Puminati, what's up, dude? Puminati. Speaking of which, before I move away from California, I will be doing one last episode of Mad Scientist Party Hour. I'll be on their main episode and probably record a Patreon episode too, to say goodbye to everybody. But of course, I don't like saying goodbyes. I've learned now, I've been alive 10 years longer than my expiration date. I'm still around 10 years later, and I'm still doing fairly well. Like I'm communicate, I can make eye contact with people, I can work and drive. So I don't believe in saying goodbye anymore. I say, see you in the future. That's my end phrase to all my episodes of my show. And that's usually what I say to people is like, this is not goodbye. It's not the end of the book. It's just the end of the chapter. And I'm going on to the next chapter. But we have social media, we have YouTube. There's plenty of ways people and I can keep in touch. So it's never gone for good. But definitely, and I can always Skype call into, to Mad Scientist Party Hour in the future too. So it's not even my goodbye there really either, but it'll just be my last one. I'll be able to record in person, at least for a while. Maybe one day I'll make it back out here. You never know. Abdul says, is Venom stronger than Morbius? Ooh. You know what? That'd be interesting to explore in a storyline. I would say as a Venom fan, I would assume Venom might be, because I'm more of a fan of his than Morbius, so that's my bias answer. But I don't know. That'd be fun to explore in a storyline of who is stronger between the two. Anne's death was horrible, a real disservice to the character. I 1000% agree. And that's the only reason I would bring her back, is because it wasn't like when Barry Allen died, that was a very good death. So bringing him back, I was like, F you, DC. He could have stayed dead. Gwen Stacy, very impactful death. They haven't brought her back. Uncle Ben, have not brought him back, because it would undo a lot of stuff for Peter Parker. So it makes sense to keep them gone. But you could always do alternate realities, Gwen Stacy. Like she has her own miniseries coming up, and that's her in a different reality. And it's like, fine, good. Or she's in a reality where she's the Spider-Man character. She's Spider-Gwen, or Ghost Spider, whatever they call her. That's great. Those are opportunities to do something with that character, but a different version of her. So you can change things about the character without upsetting anyone, because it's like a side drifting continuity universe, whatever. But Anne had a crappy, stupid death that meant nothing. It did impact Eddie's life in some way, and I give Donnie Cates credit for that. He is trying to touch on that a little bit with Dylan, but it's not in the long run. It's like, I'd rather bring her back and tell stories with her again, because I like her. But we get her in the movies, and she's played by Michelle Williams, who I love. So that's great. A group fanfic sounds fun. Maybe we'll do that before I leave for Venom Vlog live. Maybe we'll do that. I think but I'm biased. Lisa says, yeah, Venom's stronger. See, yeah, I would lean towards Venom being stronger, but I would like to write that comic book one day. Add weaponized Scarlet Spider Donnie's borrowed idea pile. Yeah, pretty much. Again, yeah, let's bring Anne back to get Dylan and then fridge her. At least that's how I remember it. Yeah. Oh yeah. She pretty much was just, she died off panel, and then her ramifications of her death were handled off panel. We never saw her funeral or Eddie go to her tombstone. So no, that was handled so poorly by a writer who I really love too. I really like, and I'm blanking on his name now, Howard Mackey, who wrote the 90s Ghost Rider run, which I do a show on, which I will go back to very soon. I want to try to pack all those comic books up, so I want to make more collection videos before I do. But I love Howard Mackey, but yeah, that was just like, it was like not a very good death for her. Depends on how much plasma Morbius has had sucked through his hands. I would like to add that to the comic book. That's kind of, because it's such a gross idea. What's your view on Dylan being a symbiote? I think Dylan is more than just a symbiote. He's a plot device. Anything Donny Cates needs for plot purposes, Dylan's going to be the solution. And so for that reason, I no longer like Dylan as a character. If you want to give Eddie Brock a son, just give him a son. But making him like, tied to a god and all this stuff, I'm not a fan. And Lisa, $5 super chat. Thank you. You are a very inspiring and talented person. Appreciate this chat in your channel. Hey, first of all, thanks for the kind words. I don't agree with you, but it means a lot. I've had people say similar things like that in the past, and it means a lot to me. I'm working on my talent. I don't aim to be inspirational, but to have any effect on somebody means a lot to me. And for you to donate hard-earned money to this channel twice now, this is your second time donating $5, that means so much to me. And like I said, that first check from YouTube, when all these things pile up, I will definitely try to put that into the channel in some way, and I'll ask your guys' feedback on what kind of features you want to see on this channel, and we'll see if that money can provide that. So thank you, Lisa. That means so much to me, and I appreciate the kind words on top of the donations. And everybody send her some love, put some hearts in the chat for Lisa. That is very, very nice. Very awesome. Thank you, Lisa. Lonely says new Morbius issue will be out on the 12th of the month. I have issue 3. I haven't read it yet. I have a stack of comics that I'm gonna put right next to my bed. So when I'm recuperating this week from my surgery, I am just gonna sit and read. And I have a little spotlight behind me that I can click on and off, or if it's daylight, I can just open the blinds a little bit. And I have a little container where some drinks are in, like water and stuff. So I'm gonna be good, I think, for the next few days, or not. Starting Monday. So yeah. But I have some pre-recorded content that I'll do today and tomorrow, and those will start going up probably on. I think I can schedule one for Monday, but I'll probably schedule stuff for Tuesday and Wednesday is most likely what's going to happen. What's up, man? Looking good. Are you driving or flying to your new home? I can't fly, especially so soon after a surgery in my brain. So I'm not going to be able to fly, but I'm going to drive, and I'm going to have a friend drive with me. And he's a big DC fan, so chances are me and him might record some stuff. We're calling it the Hard Traveling Heroes road trip, and that is a nod to Green Arrow and Green Lantern when they took a road trip together in the comics. I think Neil Adams did that run. So you'll probably get some content from us on the road, which will be fun. I'm not convinced that Anne is actually dead. I'm not either, and if that's the case, that's fine, and I hope Donnie does that. It just makes it to where she wasn't dead, because that death was so stupid. Lisa is the best. She's a hardcore symbiote collector. Is she? Yeah. That's awesome. Well, I appreciate her in the chats, and I appreciate her feedback, and her kind words are undeserved, I feel, but very nice to hear. So thank you. Yeah, I don't take compliments very well, but I appreciate that very much. Hardcore. Oh, gotcha. No, I gotcha. Hopefully I read that as hardcore. I see what the typo is now. Sometimes I have an autocorrect in my head sometimes. Hopefully Venom 2 will be successful and well, so that other media will finally accept them as anti-heroes. The door being open for Venom to have a game playable or teaming up with Spidey would be great. 100% agree. And thank you all for saying thanks to Lisa and stuff. I 100% agree. I think Venom is 11 thumbs up, and 11 is my lucky number, and $5 super chat, so thank you very much. The Venom movie was such a success, it proved that Venom is a household name. Hopefully Venom 2 does that and proves that Venom and Carnage are a household name, and that could lead to definitely other media stuff. I mean, we're going to get a cartoon, Maximum Venom, so that's great. I'm going to be covering that. All the previous seasons of Spider-Man are on the Disney Plus app, which I have, so I'll probably watch some of those when I'm recovering, and we might talk about those in the coming months as well. Wait till I move to Florida, and I can't wait I'm going to get my own place. Hopefully I'll have enough money to pay for like the first 2 months of rent for free, because I'm cashing out my 401k, or I'm trying to anyway, to help me move. Got some money coming in from my grandparents passing away. Unfortunately, I would obviously rather have them than money they're giving, but a bit of money and it'll help out with the move. Then also income taxes. I did my taxes already, and I'm going to get like $2,000 almost back. So I'm going to use that to help me move. And then also I have a work bonus coming up in March, and I'm going to use that to help me move. So I'm hoping to be able to travel with at least $5,000 or $6,000. And if that's the case, then I'll be able to get an apartment and probably pay for the first 2 months without having to work if I don't want to. And that'll give me time to work on my books and YouTubing. And that's what I want to do at that time, because those are the things that make me happy. And then I'll start stressing out about work and stuff in Florida. Sorry, Siike, I wasn't here at the beginning of the live stream, but where do you say you're moving to again? Was it Washington? I'm moving to Orlando, Florida. And I will vlog the trip there as well. I agree with you about Anne. Something's up, Lisa says to Lonely. Yeah, something's definitely up. As are you, Sugar. Eddie says, oh, you guys are so sweet to each other. That's so nice, Suki says. Siike, you are a sweetheart. Let us compliment you, or I will be sad. All right, fine. You know what? I'm not here to make anyone sad. Don't be sad over that. You guys are all great. Thank you. I mean, we are Venom, right? So of course we're great, because we're all Venom. Brett, what's up, Brett Hess Art? How are you? May your symbiote help you heal quick, brother. Safe travels on the move. Hey, thank you so much. Yes, so that's what I'm going to call this helmet, is my symbiote. I think one of you guys had that idea. So this will be something I'll be wearing for a little while afterwards. I was a little embarrassed about it at first, but I actually kind of like this helmet. I got it in black, obviously. It's pretty good. It has some good padding in it. Not great, but I did read a lot of great reviews from people who have epilepsy, who were talking about this helmet, and they recommended it for the price point that it was. It was like $30-40. And they're like, it's pretty good for that point. That was the budget I had. Some of the other helmets I saw were like really hard helmets, and I was afraid of falling on that and having the hardness crack or hit me. So they were like, oh, get something with padding. So I went with a rugby helmet because it looked cool, and look tough, but I'm going to have a lot of my friends at the store sign it, and maybe we'll doodle on it and stuff. I can't doodle too much because I got to wear it at work, for the next couple weeks after my surgery. So until my last day. So I can't I have a feeling I'm going to have a friend that's going to draw a dick right on it. So I can't, I'm going to have to wait and have that friend sign it after I stop working at Lego, because I can't be walking around with a drawing of a dick on the helmet. Are you moving by RNS Entertainment? I don't know. Where does he live now? I think he's moved. I don't know. He said he was going to try to move out here at some point. So, but I don't know. So we might pass like ships in the sea, unfortunately. But I don't know. Is he in the Florida area? If so, that'd be great. I'd love to connect with him. I'll try to reach out to him actually and see if where he is and if that's possible. That'd be cool actually, to after all these years. Like he some of the reason you guys know about my channel is because of Roman. So that would be awesome to meet up with him. Maybe he can give some workout techniques too. That guy's looking fit as shit, man. I still follow him on Instagram, and dang, man, every once in a while I'll scroll through my stories, and because I that's how I am. Like if I like something on Instagram, it's just because I'm scrolling and I just like everything. I just try to double tap everything I see, and sometimes I'll have like a minute, so I'll go whatever the first picture is, I'm liking it, and then I'm leaving. But sometimes I'll click on stories and I'll scroll through and I just see him, and he's like in the mirror and he's like, motherfuck, and I'm just like, okay, dude, that's awesome. Like, so yeah, maybe he can help me lose a few pounds. That'd be great. But if nothing else, have a Venom fan out there and talk to him every day would be awesome. Safe travel, Siike. Oh, thank you so much, Suki. I appreciate that. Hope you enjoy the trip and that surgery goes well. I'm a lot less worried about the surgery now. I have a feeling it's going to be just fine, and I'll bounce back fairly quickly. I'm expected to be kind of back on my feet and talking again probably by Wednesday. Like I have in the surgery, so probably Tuesday night, Wednesday, I'll have my appetite back, and I'll probably slowly start bouncing back by that time. I'll probably be able to make a video or two by Friday or Saturday, but I'm not gonna. I think someone wanted to interview me, and unfortunately the only day I could do it was Saturday. So I'm sure I'll be rested up enough to do the interview on Saturday. So I'm gonna, I think we crossed the 2-hour marker. So I'm sorry if it cut out there for a second. But yeah, it looks like I lost the internet for a second. So I'm sorry. I hope the video's still going. So anyway, someone's going to interview me, Jason Clam. He's a very funny guy, and we're going to talk about Sinbad, the comedian and actor who I grew up with, and it's called Comedy on Vinyl is the name of the podcast, and so we're talking about a specific comedy album that was on vinyl. And there's a Sinbad one called Brain Damage, which I'm actually a fan of. And so me and him are going to talk about that, which will be really fun. So I'll be back to record stuff by the weekend, which will be good. Nice. You can move to Washington, enjoy the cloudy weather with me. That'd be awesome. Yeah, I do like the cold and kind of dreary weather. The problem is I need a good support system in case anything does happen with health moving forward. And so even though I don't have a lot of memories of living in Orlando, there are some friends that have kept in touch with me over the years and are really excited to have me back and offered, like, if you need anything, I'm here for you. And to have that from so many people, and then to be less than a day's drive from my mom for the first time in 10 years is nice for her, but it'll be good because maybe I can see my family a little bit more, which will be nice for me, I think. So I'm looking forward to it. Kind of looks like a web pattern on the helmet. Yes, I know. Yes, the rugby helmets kind of have that little look. But yeah, you look at it from above, and it is very much like a spider web. Yep. We are Venom. Nice. Abdul, the retracted comments. I keep missing them. Got to put the white spider on the helmet. Got to put the white spider on the helmet. Oh, let me see. I think Roman is in North Carolina. Oh, okay. Well, my mom's in North Carolina, so if I ever visit her, maybe I'll just pop up and see him up there. Got to put the white spider on the helmet for Venom. Yeah, so maybe I'll do that. Maybe we'll draw a white spider here, and maybe we'll do spiderweb lines in there. That's what I'm thinking of. I have like get like a white Sharpie or paint marker and do the white lines in between here, and that'll look like a webbing. Yeah, we'll see. I'll probably look even sillier, but whatever. I don't care. I'll probably have people initial instead of sign it. It'll probably just initial because there's not a lot of writing room on some of these squares. He's been offline for a while, and yeah, he was in Florida, and he was hit by all those hurricanes a while ago. Oh man, okay. Well, I'll reach out to him to see if he's still in Florida. If so, then yeah, I'll definitely catch up with him. Lisa says, lonely as are you. Thanks. The morning was turning to crap until I saw the notification. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you came in. There's always that one friend who draws dicks on your stuff. Oh yeah. So sorry, probably because the word dick. So I showed the comment. So now you guys will be able to see it. Yeah, there's always that friend who. That's what I'm saying. Like there's going to be right on the back. There's going to be a set of balls. And I'm going to be walking around with that. So you always one funny, and it is kind of funny, but I just can't have it at work. You guys should do another live stream together. We should. You're right. We should. That's one thing I want to look into is like recording through Skype and stuff and broadcasting from my computer. I got to figure out how to do some of that. Maybe I'll need a better computer to do it. So I'll look into that because I would like to have guests on the show. And now that I'm moving away from most of the people I know out here, I'd still like to have them on as guests. So it would be nice to have that feature. So I'm going to look into. I know it's not hard to do. So many people do it on YouTube, but I'm just not very tech savvy, even on simple things. So I'm going to do my best. But yeah, we should do another live stream. That'd be awesome. I look forward to devolving into a Kate's bashing session. I try not to bash. I mean, I know I have my opinions, but I hope at least, and my goal is not to bash people. I hope it comes across as, hey, this is my opinion. I don't like it. But if you do, that's great. And maybe we can have a discussion about it. But I do know sometimes I go on my rants. So it's not my intention to be like that, but it happens sometimes. RNS, while highly critical, was great. I wish he was still doing comics. I do too. Yeah, absolutely. And I liked his level of criticism. He has a standard. He has a standard that's up here. And like I said, I work for Lego and Disney, and those are both companies that have high standards. And I don't see a problem with high standards. So yeah, but I do. I like his stuff. Video's still going. Okay, good. Because my phone was like, you're now live, and I'm like, uh-oh, what just happened? But I think there is a cutoff of 2 hours. I think there might be a cutoff. So it'll be interesting to see how much of this live stream makes it to the final video. So maybe that's my cue to leave, so we don't lose too much. 2 hours already, I know. So Siike, do you think Riot could make a comeback in Venom 2? Nope, and I hope not. I like Riz Ahmed, but it was a wasted character. The only reason to bring him back is maybe to expand on the character, obviously, and show more of him, or make him grow in some way, or something that could be cool. But nah, not really. There's other symbiotes you can bring in. They could do Scream properly. They could do Toxin. They could do a lot of other stuff. So we'll see. Vid is still going here too. Okay, good. If Dr. Seuss World is still at Universal Studios Orlando, it would be. I would be there every day. Lisa said. I'm going to see if I have a annual pass. I'm going to try to go at least one, if not two more times to Universal before I leave to kind of get my money's worth on the annual pass. So I'm going to try to do that again. But I'm going to see if they'll let me transfer it to Florida since there's a Universal there and I'm making monthly payments on the pass. I'm going to see if they'll let me transfer it. And if I owe like a difference, I'll pay it. But I'd like to go to the Universal in Orlando too. That'd be a lot of fun. I might be going to Orlando Convention this year. It's only an hour away, I think. Oh, awesome. Yeah, there's a MegaCon in April. And my goal is to go to that too. I'm hoping to be settled and have my own place by then. And I would also like to attend MegaCon. So that's my goal for April is to land in Florida, get an apartment, and attend MegaCon. I've been on YouTube auctions for over 6 hours. It should be good. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, it might be. I don't know. It's my first time going this long. So it's still there. Everyone says, okay, good. Yeah, me too. Awesome. So good. I'm caught up on comments. So either way, that's probably a good place to end because I feel like I've said everything I want to say. I talked at the beginning about my goals. And like I said, someone asked me the question, there's so many things you haven't accomplished. And I'm like, I don't see it that way. Everything I came out here to do, I accomplished. Siike of age 27, I have accomplished a lot of his goals. I got to work in more movies and TV. I got to make an impact on movies, by being in focus groups and being part of how movies are made. I got to change an ending of a movie. My idea got put into an ending of a movie of a franchise that I've dreamed to be a part of and contribute to. I've done a lot of great things and nothing to be mad about, nothing to be sad about, nothing to feel regret over. I got to work in comic books, and despite the reasons I left comic books and being disheartened and heartbroken by the people that work in it who were pushing people out and treating people so horribly, I got to then go and work at a company like Lego and learn so much about myself and make an impact on so many people's lives just by selling toys. And I got to see people grow, like kids grow from like, Jonas, like you saw that post on Instagram, which I got so many responses to. People were writing me messages crying, and literally watched this kid from 3 years old to now he's 7, almost 5 years later, you're going to be 8. And I've seen this kid grow up, and I've seen many kids grow up, and adults grow up, and come to the store. And, I've people that stop collecting Lego or coming back to collecting Lego or collecting for the first time as adults. It's like, it's so neat that Lego has connected me to so many people. And I'm going to miss that job. So what I'm going to do when I move to my new place, the reason I'm taking all these photos, it was a guest's idea, and it's a great idea, is I'm going to take photos with my coworkers there and all the people that come in to say bye to me before I leave. And I'm in my new apartment. I'm going to make a wall. I'm going to print all those pictures out, and I'm going to make a wall. And I'm not just people at Lego, friends like my friend Erica, voice actress, amazing person, talented person, also actress too, live action actress and voice actress. She's great. She got married recently. I was unable to attend the wedding because of a seizure I had, which really broke my heart, because she was my first best friend I made out here, and I really wanted to be at her wedding, and I couldn't, and it sucked. And that's how my life has been these past few years. And that's why this rut was, I can't be a part of people's lives anymore unless it's like I push myself too hard. And then when I do, the results are that I miss out on big moments in their lives, and it makes me feel like a bad friend. And I know she understands and everything. She knows what I'm going through, but I really wanted to be there for her. And so I'm going to take a picture with her and her new wife, and I want to get all these pictures with people that I've known out here, and I want to decorate the living shit out of this wall, and I want to cover it in photos of the accomplishments I've made, and the people I've connected to, and the friends I've made with my second chance. I've got 10 extra years on this world, and I got to spend 9 of them back out here in LA. And those were, and every person, every picture I take is representing an accomplishment that I've made. So no, this wall is going to be full of pictures, and it's going to show me every day that I have no regrets, that I lived the best life I could, given my conditions and my obstacles and my restrictions. I did the best I could out here. So no, I am not sad at all. And I know you can't stay for 6 hours, neither can I. We might play some video games though. Like, I'm going to be off this week, so I might play some video games. I usually have to do video games after a surgery, because, and I used to do this when I did my Twitch channel, is because it just helps me, think, kind of, especially Resident Evil. You got to problem solve. I got to remember how to solve puzzles from the game and stuff. So I don't know if I'll have my chat or headset on, or maybe I'll just have the headset on but no video. But you'll probably, by Wednesday or Thursday, I'll probably be playing video games. So that'll be a lot of fun. And I really like Venom's design, but I wish they took a bit from Spider-Man 3 design when it comes to latching onto its host. Yeah, like that whole thing, that was awesome. You're right, that was really good. Yeah, he just kind of pours on, or, I mean, that's fine too. He's kind of liquidy, so they both kind of work. But I do like the detail in the, stretching. It looks painful. It was a lot creepier than the symbiote climbed into his host in Spider-Man 3. Yeah, that's an awesome idea, Siike. All the pictures. Yeah, I mean, again, it was from a customer who said it, and I said, you know what? That's a great idea. So that's what I'm going to do for the next, 7 weeks that I'm out here, 6-7 weeks. That's what I'm going to do, is take pictures with as many people that I've had in my life. My friend Andrew, who was the reason I got to go to some of the premieres I got to go to. We met invited Dave the Film Junkie to go to the Justice League premiere with me, but he actually got to go to a private screening of it at Warner Brothers, so he couldn't make it to the premiere. But when I went to the premiere, I met a guy named Andrew, and me and him have been, stayed in touch all these years. And he's really awesome, really talented dude, and we connect on a lot of levels, and we respect each other's, the stuff we're going through, like the stuff he goes through, and and he's a good guy, and I wish I got to spend more time with him. So I'm going to hope that I can connect with him before I leave, so that way I can get another picture with him. I have pictures with him, but I'd like an updated one for sure. Hope you have a great time. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, everyone. Yes, you have had amazing life. I agree. I know I complain about my health stuff sometimes on social media, but I hate that I do that. When I do it, sometimes I regret it, and I'm just like, well, it's out there. Just leave it. Don't delete it or whatever. Like that's how you felt in the moment. That's how you felt in the moment. Embrace it. Try to learn from it. But when I look back, it felt good to say, no, I have a great life. It does, even when I struggle sometimes. But look, I mean, like, surrounded by all this Venom stuff, I got to meet Tom Hardy. We started a show about Venom, and it was just me sitting and watching a video of Tom Hardy training. And within a year of that video, I I'm right next to Tom Hardy. Like, I never, ever thought that would be possible. So no, I don't have any complaints about my life. I got to meet all of you guys on that journey there. And a lot of you still sticking around for the next phase of the journey. And it means a lot to me. So yeah, no, I have a great life, and you guys are a big part of it. Um, I really hope I get to meet you someday too. Amen. If you guys are ever in Orlando and there's a convention or there's something going on, and I'm able to, and you're like, hey, I'm in town, I would love to, meet you for a drink, or or meet up, or let's talk Venom at McDonald's or something like that or whatever. I'm 100% there, no problem. As long as I can. Like if I'm not sick or going through anything or working, obviously I'll do my best. But within my ability, I will definitely make it happen. And if you're going to WonderCon in Orlando, like let me know on social media. Best of luck. What will you do right after this live stream? I will go and walk my dog again. He needs a second walk. I need to eat lunch, so I'm probably going to order a pizza because I have to stop eating within like 18 hours or something like that, 20 hours of my surgery. So that means tomorrow I won't be able to eat. so I'm going to order a pizza and I'm going to eat the whole damn thing. And then I'll probably record after that some videos before my roommate comes home. So I'm going to work on some stuff, and that's my whole goal today is recording. I'm going to record all night, all day, and then tomorrow I'm going to be packing and getting some stuff taken down. So on the videos you see next week when I upload them, all my background stuff should still be there, but every week after that, you're going to see less and less stuff. I'm going to start packing stuff up. So yeah, but right after the stream, that's what I'm going to go do. I'm going to eat, walk Echo again. He's already walked once today, but I got to walk him again, and then order pizza, get some food, and then I'm just going to record. I have 3 Venom vlog ideas that I'm going to record. I'm going to try to get 2 of them done today, maybe 1 of them done tomorrow. I'm going to edit my next Superman podcast. I already recorded it. I'm going to edit it, and so that one's ready to go. I'm going to try to record a Ghost Rider and maybe 2 Transformer videos and have those ready for the week. And then I have a Fast and the Furious 9 trailer that I recorded last night, and I think I'm going to put that up as a Seek and Destroy episode because I have a guilty pleasure for the Fast and the Furious movies. They're so stupid, but I love them on some level. I heard something kind of got spoiled for me about a character coming back, which I'm like, well, that's what I get for being on Twitter. But other than that, I'm going to watch the trailer, and I watched a trailer, but that part was spoiled for me. So in that trailer, I'm not like, yay, this person's back. I kind of was like, oh yeah, it was spoiled for me. But I tried to watch trailer as soon as I could, but I just couldn't because I was at work. So that did get spoiled for me. So that video I'll probably edit today and probably post it tomorrow at some point, just because I thought it was fun. I thought I had a fun reaction to it. This might sound something, but I do love art during Venom. It got me drawing gooey blobs again. No, that's great. I saw some of your artwork. Lonely Symbiote does artwork. So yeah, I mean, I love that. And feel free to, tag us in it or use the hashtag Venom Vlog or We Are Venom. And I usually follow those hashtags. I'm usually the only one who puts Venom Vlog as a hashtag, but We Are Venom, I try to follow that sometimes to try to find other Venom fans. So yeah, feel free to do that, or hashtag Venom2, or We Are Venom with the 3s in it that Tom Hardy does sometimes, which is pretty fun. Put that out there, and I try to follow the hashtags when I can. Pizza time, that's right, pizza time. Everybody talk about pizza time. Stay safe, Seek. Don't push yourself too hard. No, I'm too busy having fun today. I worked Monday through Friday, and I got the whole weekend off, and I feel great, and I'm not scared about what's coming on Monday, because I know I'll get through it. I'll be home by probably like 3 p.m. ish. I'll probably be home by, and I'll be in bed sleeping. And then my hope is that by Tuesday around 3 p.m., I'll at least be awake and I'll be able to go online and check social media so that you guys know I'm okay. Holy heck, that is awesome. Give him a hug for me. Yes. Hugs. Hugs for what? What did I miss? Eddie's mom. I'm going to go get to meet Jim Shooter in a few weeks. Oh, nice. Nice. Yeah, give him a hug from all of us. Nice. Jim Shooter hug. I'm very proud to say I've never watched a Fast and Furious movie. Good for you. You know what? And keep that up. There's only going to be like 20 more of them, so just ignore them all. I'll watch them, and I'll tell you. I'm not going to review them, but what was it? I think I did a trailer reaction for Hobbs and Shaw. I don't know if I ever posted it. Sometimes I record trailer reactions and I don't even post them, but this one I thought I had a fun reaction to, and I talk a little bit about Tokyo Drift, which is my favorite Fast and Furious movie. The first one I was like, it was fine when it came out. It reminded me a lot of Point Break, and I like Paul Walker, so I was like, yeah, it's fine. And Vin Diesel, I liked him from Pitch Black, so Yeah, I kind of like the first movie. The second one I did not like at all. Even though it had Paul Walker in it, I did not like the second movie at all. But the third one with Tokyo Drift, I really genuinely like that movie. Pacing wise, story wise, a Southern kid in Tokyo. That's what I've always wanted to go to Japan. Still have never been. But that movie really, when that age I was when I came out, I was the same age as that kid, I think, and I was like, wow, this is great. Like I'm like, oh, I was maybe a couple years older than him, but I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to go to Tokyo one day, and you know, he goes there and he learns about drifting and all this stuff, and I wanted to go there and learn about art techniques and art styles and stuff. So it was like I could apply it, not a one-to-one connection, but I liked it. So I liked that movie. And then 4 came out and I was like, all right, this is fine. It kind of goes back to the roots of the first one. But then like after 5, it's crazy. There's like the rocks in it. They're holding Gatling guns from helicopters and they're jumping off buildings and then jumping through buildings. And they're like, they're driving trains through airplanes to land in the ocean or whatever. It's like, it gets so insane. It's awesome. It's so stupid. I love it. I love it. If you haven't seen Six Underground, with Ryan Reynolds on Netflix, it's also that kind of stupid, and I thought it was awesome. People were like, "Oh, it's from the same writers as Deadpool. How can it be so bad?" I'm like, "What are you talking about? Six Underground's awesome." Like, yes, it's a bad movie, but it's like for the ridiculousness of it, it's phenomenal. So many hugs. I don't know anything that happened after the first one. There you go. Trashing that Charger was hard to watch. Love old Mopo. Yeah, no, I know, right? Yeah, that was tough, but they rebuilt it. Anyway, all right, so that's my cue because now I'm really hungry. So yeah, I'm gonna head out. So I appreciate everything, you guys, Lisa for the $5, everyone for hanging out with me for 2 hours to have this discussion about just life and just what I'm going through and asking me Venom questions and everything we talked about. Like it means a lot, and this is my passion now. Like I'm more than writing, more than anything. Like that's why another reason why I want to finish my book is one, just because I owe it to the people who believed in that project and to myself to put the final to close the final chapter of that part of my life where I want to create and write stuff. You know, like, sure, I'll probably still pursue it in other ways in the future, but I'm going to rethink it. I'm going to do it for me and not just because the person I was before my aneurysm wanted to do it, but I want to try to proceed forward because I want to do it. But the one thing I definitely want to keep doing is making YouTube videos and hanging out with you guys and connecting with people. That is my end result of my life. That's what I want to leave behind when I'm gone, since I can't really leave behind children or anything like that. I mean, of course I can adopt and stuff, but I don't connect with people that way. And I've tried to be intimate with people and stuff. And it's, you know, you go through those phases and it was fun while it lasted and you learn about yourself from those moments. But what I've learned about myself is that I don't know if I have the ability to emotionally connect with somebody on that level to where it's where, you know, where it's fair to them. And then that reason also maybe, you know, no kids are in my future. So I look at, we always want to leave something behind. I just want to leave behind my life stories, and I want to connect with you guys and hear your life stories. Those are really special to me. So, you know, it's nice. And, you know, people who do have different opinions who aren't, you know, like this channel, I think someone wrote me recently and said, you know, I'm a Republican and I like your channel, even though I know you're, you know, Democrat and you normally vote Democrat and stuff. And he goes, but I just want to say I like your channel. You're not mean spirited when it comes to, you know, people being different, you know. And I'm like, no, whether it's sex, age, race, political spectrum, you know, political beliefs, you know, religious beliefs, no matter what it is, like, we're here to be Venom fans, you know, or we're just here to be ourselves. And I don't care ultimately. If you're not a hateful monster, then no, there's plenty of room for you and I to communicate with each other. Absolutely. I don't care where people come from, where their backgrounds are, what they look like, what they sound like, what disability they have, what disability they don't have. Like, doesn't matter to me. I don't care. None of that stuff is important to me. What's important is the conversation, the connection, and the growth that comes from those. And this channel has provided me a lot of that, and you guys have provided me a lot for that. And I know some of you guys come in here and agree with a lot of stuff I say, and that's very nice, but don't be afraid to disagree with me. You know, I'm not here to, you know, to just be agreed with all the time. I have my point of view, and if you agree with it, awesome. But I'm sure there's going to be times where I say stuff and you're like, well, this time, Siike, I'm not on board with you. Please don't be afraid to say that. And that's not just to apply it here to this channel, but to work. You know, I'm at work, and when, like I said, I spoke up for a coworker last year, and really no one else did. We all shared opinions about the topic to each other, but as far as going to, you know, upper management and stuff, everyone was too afraid to do it. And it's like, look, if your goal is just looking out for the best interest of your coworker and your job and the company, don't be afraid to speak up. And same here, there's no stakes here. No one's going to get fired. Like, just speak up, say what you mean, say what you feel. And that's what this space is. Of course, if you're going to just attack me and say like you're this or you're that, it's like, sure. And some people I know lately especially think I attack them. It's like, I'm not attacking people. I'm just saying why I don't cover certain things. And yeah, maybe I make fun of things or poke fun of things, but I try not to. Someone's like, oh, tag me in it and have the balls if you're going to talk crap. And it's like, it's not about tagging you and having the balls to do anything. It's just that I'm making a snarky comment and I don't want to involve you because I don't really know you on a personal level. If I knew you, maybe I would, or if I've met you a couple times, maybe I would. But again, I'll make mistakes too. And if you think I wronged you in some way, you're welcome to tell me. But it doesn't mean I have to agree with it. And sometimes I will, sometimes I won't. But yeah, you're going to go eat too? Good. Yeah, me too. If you could go for WWE, they film NXT there every week. I'm not a wrestling fan, but I do have a friend that's a wrestler. I don't know if she lives in Orlando anymore. Her name's Leva. And I follow her on Instagram and Twitter, and I think she follows me back, but I don't communicate with her that much. But last time I was in Florida and I went to MegaCon, I did see her and we talked for a little bit, and she's super nice. She's one of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. And I used to have the biggest crush on her. There was a comic store called Bad Apple Comics, and there was a girl there named Stephanie, and then Leva worked there. And I had a crush on Stephanie because I met her first and we kind of talked a lot, and I thought we had a lot in common, but it was clear, Stephanie and I were just going to be friends, which was fine. I was like, oh, that's fine. And she had a boyfriend, I think, at the time. And I think Leva had a boyfriend at the time too. But over time, I developed a big crush on Leva. And it was because she was like just a super awesome person. Like, she's a very positive person. She worked at Universal. So she worked in like theme parks, which is where I was working at the time, at Disney. And she loved comic books. And I thought we had a lot in common. And I loved our conversations about comic book characters and stuff. But it was great to still build a friendship with her and stay in touch with her after all these years. And even though I have very few memories of her and Florida in general, it was cool to see her succeed. She's always wanted to go into these fields and be a performer. And it's so great that she is one and does stuff like that. So maybe I'll check out a wrestling thing if she's there, just to support her as a friend. That would be awesome because she's a really good person. But I don't know if she does. I don't know who she works for right now or anything. Getting to the juicy love stuff. Gotta go to work. No, I'm not. I was just saying, at one point I had a crush on her, but like nowadays, like I said, it's hard for me to connect with people on that level. So I don't even try to date or do anything like that anymore. That part of me is just completely shut off. So I just like being everyone's friend. That's works for me on so many levels. Many hugs from the UK. You too, Abdul. Everyone else who's been here, Rohit, everyone, the 11 likes, the $5 donation from Lisa. Thank you all for the support, for being here, for being a part of this channel all these years, and us getting to this level. I know there's not a lot of Venom news now, but we're still going to make Venom content regardless. That's never slowed us down before. But now that my life, I have a lot. I have a lot to deal with right now. I've been having to plan the surgery. I'm quitting my job that I've loved for the last 4.5 years. I got to move all within a 2-month span. It's very stressful, and so videos are lacking right now, but I promise we'll get caught up, and I'm going to record some stuff for you today to post next week while I'm on bed rest. So don't worry, we'll get there. But thank you guys very much for the support as always, and I will see you all in the future. Thanks for watching. If you're watching later, thank you so much. Leave your comments down below if you have any. Thanks so much. See ya. Peace.